AskGunQuestions.com is a website that we built back in 2007, and since then, for the last 15 years, people have been able to ask questions of simple to advanced nature, and we attempt to answer them in different ways over the years. Join us now as we start a new series to answer gun questions.
All right, welcome everybody back to Gun Questions, or Ask Gun Questions, or Ask Gun Questions, right? And got Tony joining us from New Jersey. Thanks for jumping in.
Hey, what's up?
So back on StreamYard, and as you may have noticed, we had the intro back. So I was just telling Tony, like, when you leave StreamYard, or quit paying for it at least, they don't delete all your stuff. And now it's been like 2 or 3 different services I've used since StreamYard. Now I'm back, so I'm kind of getting my legs or whatever back with it. But anyway, pretty neat. I wouldn't say the other software that we were using had these features, but I just never took the time, or I couldn't figure out, one of the two or both, how to get this stuff plugged in and set up. One of the things I liked about one of the other hosting platforms was that you could set up these rooms kind of permanently, let's say. And for like Tony, he doesn't have to have like a different link each week. Like, we could just join in the same link. And now StreamYard's added that, and I think I set it up this way. So with that, and the prices back to normal, so the reason we all left StreamYard is because the prices went crazy high. With the prices back to like competitive with everybody else, actually a little bit cheaper than everybody else with the yearly, I'm back at StreamYard. So anyway, a little behind the scenes there. Show comments on stage. Oh, look at this. We got a new thing. So as people comment, and that's why we do this live, so that we can be part of, a live conversation here. We're not just lecturing. It's not like we have, we do get comments. I'll have to go look at, or we do get questions that come into the website. That's what it's all about. But we're not here to just give you our point of view, so you can take notes and then know how it's done. You can do that if you want, but our goal is to have a conversation with folks out there each week, except we haven't been here for a couple of weeks. That's my fault. But anyway, I think it's set up now that if somebody types something in the comments, it's going to show up on the screen. So that's kind of cool. In other words, automatically, like before we could highlight a comment, and I think I can still do that. But additionally, I think that's what this is. Maybe not. We'll find out when somebody starts commenting. Anyway, that being said, it's been quite a few weeks since we did the show. I think even before goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I planned on doing.
I think the Saturday before goals, yeah.
Yeah, and then that didn't work out. Doing it the Saturday of goals, and then the Saturday after, I think is the weekend. I figured I knew it was Saturday, but I was driving around and doing stuff, and I just blanked that we do a show on Saturday, and that I should have stopped. The next week, I knew that was a thing. Or no, the next week I was actually working, and just worked right through the show, and then the next week. I was planning on it and everything, and I actually looked for a location, but I did it too late in the day. So by the time I found a place to get internet in kind of the mountains of Arizona, we didn't do it. So how did you like goals? Let's start there.
Goals was productive. It was, fun. Obviously, you meet your friends, you get to hang out with people. But it was the fact that I got to speak on the main stage. They didn't do as many. They didn't do as many panels. I'm kind of bummed, and some of the things slipped through the cracks. Like, I missed the classes. I mean, if you hadn't have put up something about one of the events, your classes you were in, I didn't even know it took place.
Oh wait, you're talking about on Friday morning?
Uh-huh.
Oh, don't worry about it. We'll talk about that. But you didn't miss nothing. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my whole thing was I didn't know classes or things like that were even happening. And I already talked to John about that with GOA. I'm like, yo, dude, how come I didn't know any of the stuff that was happening beforehand? They were like, some things are slipping through the cracks, and they're working on it. I mean, it's a working process. But going there, range day was really good. Meeting the companies and actually speaking to them, being on stage, running into Pete Brownell's backstage and actually having a conversation with him and Eric Pratt. All cool. And then the after hours stuff, going to dinner with people, networking. So I got to hang out with Pete and the guys from Brownell's. I actually sat beside Pete at dinner. and got to be me, and he got to, meet the real me, even though he did meet me at NRA when I did like over an hour interview with him, to actually talk to him about just be me. It wasn't even an elevator speech or me catching him and talking about, the diversity shoot. No, just chilling out and talking to people around us. I thought that was really cool. Hopefully, it made a good impression when it comes time to us to become a charity that we can easily hook up with Brownells and get sponsorship. Because at this point, I'm kind of serious about getting backing and being seen as a national level speaker and being on stage at both goals, being on the floor at NRA, being invited to speak at the gun rights policy conference for 2 to 3 years in a row. I just hope not only does that help bring success to the diversity shoot, but it helps other people feel that they can start up something similar or do what I'm doing just on a personal basis. So goals was great. And also meeting the companies that kind of help support the work we do, especially after we become a charity and it's a write-off for them. I think it all works out great. So yeah, goals was a success. And I had a great time. How about you?
Yeah, it was a drive. One, I don't like where it was. I don't like Knoxville, I guess, that much. Sorry, Knoxville, but you got too much humidity for me, and that's too far away for me to drive. So it's kind of the center of the country, so I get it, but it was a drive. So those aren't anything other than, where they decide to do it. But it sounds like they're doing it in Iowa next year. I hope they do it in a different time of year. So I think the reason that nothing happens in August is because it's shitty everywhere in August. So I drove around. I drove to there, and then I went to Wyoming, which is way north of there, and then I drove back. And when I drove back, I kind of drove down the Continental Divide, so I was kind of in the mountains. Not like 100%, you really can't do that, but I kept jumping up into the mountains on the way back, trying to find some place where I could hang out and not be at 100 degrees. But I literally left Arizona at like 100, and it was hot. It was like 110 or 109 or something when I left. We were having the hot part of the year, which is part of the reason I talked myself into going out to goals, and in addition to the other stuff I needed to do, because goals was sort of an extra for me. It was like leave a week extra, leave 2 weeks early, go drive for a week to get there, be there for a couple of days, and then drive for a week to where I really was going. So it was an extra jump, but I didn't accomplish missing any of the heat. Like the heat followed me everywhere. So that part, again, it's like just a thing. I'm sure they did it at that time of year, one, so that they're not stepping on anybody, but they're GOA. I mean, there's NRA is bigger than them and SHOT Show is bigger than them, but understand your role. Like, you're bigger than everybody. You can do it when you want. And then do it somewhere that I didn't mind Knoxville, but it wasn't cheap to be in Knoxville. I don't know about you. You drove, right?
No, I flew down.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Like, it just seems there's better places. Knoxville isn't like, I don't think Knoxville is internationally known for hosting anything. They did the World's Fair there. That's what that convention center was. Just that their roads are all squiggly and stuff. They're from like the horse and buggy days. So, like the roads are squiggly. You get to like Salt Lake City in contradiction is like sprawl. Like, it's all grid, it's all just straight lines, except for where they hit like a terrain feature like hills or something. The roads are just built straight, so it's just a lot easier to get around, in my opinion. And then the cities that are built, I don't know, either rebuilt or built after the time of like big sports and big attractions, you know what I mean? Like, some towns are just a lot easier to get to, like let's say Vegas, or the towns in Florida, the cities in Florida, I guess. Now, I'm not saying I want it in Florida. I definitely don't want it in Florida, but I'm down for just doing it somewhere else. That part of it is, like I say, just me bitching because it was expensive and uncomfortable. But I don't know. I haven't ever tried to plan nothing like this, and the places that have planned it have run into ceilings, I guess, because of size. And like you said, the range day. If they want to have a decent range day, then it's got to be somewhere where there's a decent range. Now, that being said, I liked range day, but I didn't like that range. I mean, I don't mind that range or nothing, but that's not the place to have an event with. It was accomplished, but I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, they're not paying me to say it's, hey, not they're paying you, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? To be honest, I think that the range, when they've got, now I didn't go last year, and you know, they're trying to figure it out, and everybody said it was better than the first year. But you know, and that's
Mhm.
not. I'm not slighting nothing because they're figuring it out, and I think it would be fake if they just came right in like NSSF. Now, on the other hand, they're GOA, and they could have gone over to NSSF and said, "Hey, you kind of know how to do this. One, where would you do it? And two, how would you do it?" And I bet you they would have worked together. So I don't know why they didn't do it, but or
Well,
maybe
I
they
don't.
did. They couldn't see it, but I don't think they did that.
Well, I don't know if NSSF would have been any better at picking out a place since they haven't picked out a new place in 20 years.
No, that's a good
Um,
point. And they don't really do it either, I don't think. I mean, I think that's kind of been done for them, like you say, a long time ago, or at least whoever figured it out
yeah.
is long gone, right? But I might be
Oh,
wrong.
pretty
Maybe that
much.
guy's sitting in an office and he does have all the plans. But the thing is, we've got, oh man, I don't even want to start thinking about it. There's a place in Ohio that's amazing. There's the Talladega, I think, is the name of
Hmm.
the massive shooting sport thing. So yeah, you'd have to arrange it to not be when there's a massive shooting event, but these are made for massive shooting events. So they're kind of
Yeah.
ideal to have massive ranges. And they're
What
GOA.
I like.
I'm saying it's like they could pretty much go knock on anybody's door. Now, ideally, they'd have it at Dragon Man's place. It's in the middle of awesome Colorado, who's getting their balls kicked right now, and
Hmm.
it's a massive, awesome, amazing facility. Dragon Man would love to host it, I bet. And then they could do it whenever because Dragon Man's only has 2 events really, like a couple of big events for himself, and then he's there, you know, a venue. But anyway, I'm just talking shit. But anyway, it was. I'm not talking shit about that range either, other than, you know, I'd much rather see it at just all one. It was, for
Mm-mm.
people that didn't pay attention, it was in the hills. So they had some pretty neat ranges and they were kind of tucked into, I don't know, draws and valleys and
Hmm.
right. But it's just that you could miss it. Like I was looking around with the drone and I missed pieces of it. I walked around everything, missed pieces of it because I found out after the fact that like, oh, you could have kept walking down this trail and there was more. So stuff got lost. And did it rain, or am I just dreaming that it was wet?
No, it didn't. It didn't rain.
Okay.
It was hot. It was hot as all get out.
But
It rained later that same day, though.
I think it rained like the day before because it was mud, is all I'm saying. Like I remember there being
Oh,
mud, and it wasn't like a relief, like, oh, good, there's some drizzle and now it's cooling everybody down. It was just that like it was muddy and not quite slippery. There was some places, I don't know if you walked back and forth between them in that kind of walk path or something, and they had dumped a bunch of gravel. Anyway, so they tried to accomplish it, and I'm not saying they didn't. It's just that they pulled it off, but they pulled it off. Like they it wasn't like, oh, we've been doing this for a dozen years and we did it
oh
great.
no.
But that being said, like you said, it was unique in that it wasn't trying to be let's bring everybody and their uncle out to the range, and the chaos of a shoot and see type of thing, or a see and shoot maybe type of an event.
Hmm.
Fine at a small scale, but at that scale, that would have been horrible with traffic and parking. Like they could have never done it, even with that facility,
No.
if they brought everybody in. So when they bring just media in, that was pretty excellent. I thought that concept is cool. They executed it pretty well, and I haven't heard anybody except me bitching. And I'm not really bitching. I'm just like not holding
Well,
punches
see,
as far as like how it
the
could have.
thing you didn't, yeah, the thing you didn't like, I liked. I liked that it was broken down because it really gets on my nerves when you go to NSSF and everyone's on top of each other and you can't hear, and there's lines for every gun manufacturer.
Yeah, you
You know,
would think which, because there's just a big mass of people, and you walk into it all, and you're
yeah,
like, oh, "Shit, I'm in a wrong line." For everybody's looking at me funny, because I'm standing in their line. Yeah, it's like
yeah. You're standing in the exit line when everybody's going into. It's like, what
bullshitting
the?
as they leave. I've done that before. You're like, "Are you kidding me? I'm standing here watching you all talk, and I'm not even in a line." Yeah, I've done that.
Dude, it's so frustrating. I think I was standing at Ruger's exit line forever. I'm like, when is this line getting short? Oh, it's not getting shorter.
Yep.
You know what? I don't even care. And I left. Um,
But
so
anyway, I
with
know
it
what you're
being
saying.
little,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
more.
with it being little areas. So the first thing I did was go to the suppressor area, and it seemed, and again, you're 100% right. People didn't even know there was an area that just had suppressed firearms. So I went over there, and I was able to shoot everything. We were able to get good video for me and Clayton's wife. Uh, she was there. with me, and I was taking care of Jen and made sure she got content for her YouTube channel. And of course, it was suppressed, so it wasn't overly loud, and they were really taking their time and explaining stuff. That's what I liked about it. The day was long, but it was long enough for you to meet up with the people and actually have conversations on the range and set up cameras and do work. It was better than the first year, and I'm sure next year will be something different because they have to find out, their range in Des Moines. Is it Des Moines?
That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah, Des Moines. Yeah. So they have to find the range there and figure out how they're going to work there.
Brownells, then isn't Brownells in Iowa? Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I wonder if they're helping out then.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, because Cody's there, and Cody helped put on GunCon, and Cody works for Brownells.
Okay.
So I mean, hey, you'd be crazy. And of course, they know each other, obviously.
Yeah, and I just never thought, I don't know, I don't watch nothing from Brownells. Do they have like a range? Is that one of their things?
Yeah, they have they have the range. The warehouse is of course too small to host the event, but I don't know how far out that range is.
But it's Iowa. Like, come on, there's gotta be either massive places where they put corn or something, or like where they have corn conventions, or where they store bacon, or where they have bacon conventions. But all of those places exist in Iowa, I suspect. So I bet you it's cheap. As long as they're not doing it like in bacon season or in corn season.
Mm-hmm.
They come out of Iowa. But you know what I mean? Like, I bet you the rest of the time, I don't know. I'm not saying Iowa's ideal. I'm just saying it's right in the middle of the country. Anyway, so I'm also figuring out how to put banners and stuff up as we're talking, so kind of on a side track. There is a bunch of people listening, I think, with this one. No, it's not like some of the others. I was going to say on some of the others, like when you're looking at this up top, do you see like that we're connected to the two YouTubes and X?
I don't see anything the way I have it set up because it's on a not a laptop, tablet. I'm on the tablet.
So you're probably seeing it like Frank. But in some of the versions of this software, I can hover over those things and it'll tell me how many people are watching. Oh, no, here it is. I can see how many people are watching from what platform. I just have a different place over here. So anyway, people are watching from X and from both of the YouTube channels. I'll probably do it from X, YouTube, and like Rumble or something in the future if I can get that all set up. But anyway, you all have ability to chat or in text like Gunmetal Guy did and Tony did. So I can bring that up on the screen. So you're welcome to do that. We're just chatting here, but it's not a lecture and it's not, just we're trying to help people out if you got questions. We're all knowing, like we know everything about guns. So you're welcome. Getting back to the shoot though, I thought it was awesome that they set it up with they kind of aim it. They say it's a media day at the range exclusively, but I really do think they should chat about that. It's an ability for industry to chat with each other for all the things we just said. Like you got the ability for somebody from one company to walk over and either just bullshit or check out stuff from another company. And once they do this a couple of times, they'll know that they can bring stuff and maybe work on collaborations and things or introduce things. Be at the range next to each other or something. So I think there's some opportunity there that they just don't get it shot because it hasn't been media day for a long time. I think it might be media in the morning or something, but when they're setting it up range day at SHOT Show, they know that there's going to be buyers and other industry there. So it's just, more longer and there's just more. So, and even if they did set up SHOT Show that way, again, there's just so much more of it. It's at such a larger scale that you could only do so much in a day, right? You'd have to make it a 2-day event almost, which would be kind of cool. But that would make SHOT 6 days long, and probably people couldn't handle that. That's getting into Great American Outdoor Show type of time frame. Nobody likes that time frame, from what I can tell.
Nope.
But I thought that was an aspect of it that was pretty neat. And it's just because, I don't go there to pull triggers. I go there to see the event. And that's pretty much why I'm only talking about the event. Like you could pay me $100 and I wouldn't be able to tell you 6 guns. I could probably tell you 1 or 2 that I saw there. but I just didn't go there to, I don't need to be waiting in line to pull a trigger so that I can tell nobody about it, because what am I going to tell them about it? Like, oh, it's a neat gun. I just don't have that drive or whatever to shoot a bunch of them and describe the differences and that kind of stuff. And I'm not watching innovations or anything like that right now. But I did notice, though, just the way that it was held and the place that it was held. I thought it was awesome. And I'm looking forward to the Iowa one. As far as the show itself, I only went to the Friday. So I planned on just going in for a little bit. I had issues with the parking, which, is just the issues anybody's going to have with parking in a city when you don't know the city. And you don't, you're trying to get as close as possible because you're a big fat guy. And then Clover tried to tell me where to go by pointing out where he went last year, but he didn't know that this year they told the plan changed or whatever. And the only people that could park there were people with this like piece of paper that I didn't have. And, but not only that, make me not go to the place I thought I was going, and have to find an alternative, but everybody else in my position, which I don't know how many people that was, but definitely a lot of people scurrying around it maybe an hour or two before I think I got there an hour and a half before the thing started so that, I could get to parking close and cheap. But like I say, however many other people are in my shoes, we're also now scurrying to find another parking thing. That being said, without getting into the whole story about my parking that cost me money and time, I did eventually get in there, and I'll just say I put the one puppy in the van and I brought the other dog in with me, and nobody cared that I brought the dog in with me, and that means he's the one that can't handle the heat. She's furry, but she can handle the heat. So I intended to just go in for a few hours because of the temperature and stuff, but monitoring the dog in the van and the puppy, nobody cared about the puppy. Everybody likes the puppy. And Mello was doing fine. So I ended up staying the whole day on Friday. And since I stayed the whole day, I ended up probably chatting to everybody I even know or could ever anticipate wanting to chat with twice or 3 times, the size of the event and that kind of thing. So anyway, on Saturday, I went over to Smoky Mountain Knife Works and Bud's gun shop, and then barely came back to the event, but I didn't go in. I just kind of said hey to some people and then ended up leaving. But it was mostly a heat thing for me. I kind of was interested to see how many people showed up on Saturday, but the parking it wasn't free, but it wasn't easy on Friday when no one was going there. I figured with all the membership showing up on Saturday, unless they all stayed far away and took buses in, which I don't think happened, I figured the parking garages were just going to be slammed. So just the way it worked out is I went Friday. I think I got a lot accomplished, saw the show. What I missed seeing was how full the aisles were with membership, on Saturday and Sunday. Now you were there, but you were doing stuff. Did you get a chance to see, was it full aisles, people elbow to elbow? Was it sparse?
Okay, when I was there, because I'm going to preamble it with that, right? I think I went on at 11 or something like that. So I was on the floor at the beginning of the day. And of course, it looks packed at the beginning because everyone's coming in at the same time. You know what I mean? But I
Right.
think it spread out pretty good. It didn't get crazy. It wasn't SHOT Show crazy. It wasn't, first day of NRA crazy. I like the size of this event. I mean, I obviously want it to be more successful and grow, but I love the first 2 events because you are able to get in and see people and talk to people and again, get content if you're doing that, but you get to hang out and not just get overrun at every booth. I think it's pretty cool. So no, it wasn't super crowded because I hit the floor Saturday morning when it opened. And then I went to make sure I was ready to go on stage. I think it's 11. I'm not sure, but I made sure I got there about 15 minutes early. And then after I spoke, I went back on the floor again, and I didn't feel it was just oppressive because that can happen too. Great American Outdoor Show can get crazy. especially on the weekend, that you just can't move. Everybody's taking little steps. It feels like you're, when everyone gets up to get off a plane, that's what it feels like sometimes at the Great American Outdoor Show.
Well, that's
Oh,
interesting.
nice.
I've definitely seen that or felt that kind of when, like you're saying, like the doors just open and everyone's kind of crowded around there. But not at goals. I was going to say too that since I'm chatting, the SHOT Show, I guess the real estate is more expensive, or they're more worried about it, and they're more kind of aware of the size of the attendees or something. So the aisles are way closer together, I think, at SHOT Show. At this, the aisles were like what I would consider to be a good distance. If you've got somebody on like a cart or a scooter, no problem. If you got there was enough to drive a car between, down the aisles. And I think that's great. If there's something like an emergency and you got to get, something in there, like no problem. There's no worries about that. It's probably a factor of, they didn't fill up that whole room or whatever. But like you say, that means that when it is crowded, there's room for people to spread around and it doesn't ever have to feel crowded. I threw up on the screen just some pictures of my still pictures from the event that I'll just scroll through here as you're chatting.
So what I was told by some of the guys that attended is John and the staff actually take in information. You know what I mean? Between events, like they want critiques, they want detailed critiques that can actually help them grow. One of them is don't start crap so early. You know what I mean? Start it at 10 o'clock. So people can actually go out the night before and do the networking and have the dinners, and then still come in, 10 o'clock. All right, place is open. Everybody had, their deep sleep from hangovers or whatever, but they get to eat breakfast and come in. And it's not like you got to turn in at 9 o'clock at night because you have to be somewhere at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm thinking those gaps in between the tables, the spacing, I think that might be part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? Because it's not as if the people that run the show, the vendors at the show, the media that goes to the show, this is their first rodeo. Like they do 3, 4, 5, 6 a year. Make it easy. Don't make it a pain in the ass. Don't turn it into that thing that, it's always been like that, so we won't change. Make it the easy one to get to. Make it the fun one to go to. Make it the one that you can actually hang out with people at night and don't have to call a night early because, vendors have to be in the building at like 9:30. Cool. They open the doors at 10, or they open the doors for the vendors at 10 and open the doors for the public at 11. Awesome. Yeah, it was a pretty good range there if you're watching this. Each one of those little cutouts here were at a different part.
Yeah,
and it was kind of shaded.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like it was on the hill or whatever. These are all like bays cut out of a hill. You can kind of tell the berms and shit are just, they're scraping the bulldozer or whatever on this hill. But yeah, that gives you all this trees. So you got shade. And there wasn't like a lot of bugs. I thought it was fairly bug free for being as humid and what do you call a tree? I don't know what you call that. Like I'm not used to all this many trees. But I'm assuming those trees foster bugs. Was this the parking? Why did I take pictures of this? I guess this is the rifle base. So I don't know why I took pictures the way I did. I think I was sitting in a cart. I think somebody was scooting me around and I was just taking pictures from the cart. But so it's kind of hard to tell. But all this other stuff from here was the handgun section or whatever you call it. And then starting here, that's the rifle side. And they had food trucks on both areas. It was not a small range. It's not a small facility at all. It's just that because this had so much going on, it packed every square foot of it. And I don't think I have pictures of all the rifle stuff. Like I say, I didn't realize it kept going. And that's them scooting around with the four-wheelers.
So I'm going to post some. I took some pictures and video from inside the range office. Owner was really cool and let me chill in there because it was really, really, really hot. It was really humid. And we had a heat casualty. We had one person fall down. He got lightheaded and he dropped and didn't even know he fell. So they brought him into the office. Now I went into the office because I was looking for a restroom,
Was that this room?
and
Okay.
that building right there.
Okay.
And it's nicely appointed inside. It only has a female bathroom. They didn't want dudes in there. They have, porta potties for guys,
Nice.
but they have clean bathrooms for ladies, which makes sense. And they have drinks for sale, targets, swag, all kinds of stuff inside. They also offer classes. So nice guy. And he let me chill out because I was getting overheated and I'm not going out as a heat casualty again. Like you said, just to pull triggers. I can pull triggers every 2 weeks in my events. I don't need to make a spectacle of myself and have emergency services come pick me up or deal with me because of heat trauma. There you go. What else?
I wasn't too worried about her because she was under shade and
Mm-hmm.
kind of isolated. Good.
Yeah, smart move with the van though. It's like, okay, that's somebody's van. No one's gonna mess with it. Oh, so this is one of the classes.
Yeah.
And
So, huh?
I think there's Mike Sedini walking to the camera
This
right
guy
there.
kind of looks like him, but it's not him.
Oh, okay. Oh, how about the girl with the purple hair? That's Emily.
Yeah, I forget the name of her, like Princess or something.
Pistol Princess or something like that. Yeah, she's the librarian-looking chick with the concealed carry that everybody made a hit. Very, very, very nice lady.
So this was, I get there on, like I was saying, I'm looking for parking on Friday morning because I knew these two seminars, like these two training sessions were going to happen. What were they called? Like one of them was affiliate marketing, I think, and the other one was basically being in a network, but whatever they call them now, an agency, I think. But the first one was an hour and the second one was an hour. The second one was affiliate marketing. This, I think, is the first one, and it's not Leviathan. It's Forged Relations. Are you familiar with them? They're one of the agencies for content creators now. So, you can, if you're going to be a content creator, you can just go do your thing because it's free country, or you can get help, I guess, or you can work with people, right? And there's all different million ways to do that. And one way to do it would be to get like an agent, like if you're an actor or something, or if you're, I don't know, doing anything and you don't have time to do some part of it, you hire someone to do that for you, like being a lawyer or an accountant. So people will hire agents to, do all their marketing for them or to sell their commercial slots, right? So I'm going to do my content. I'm going to leave 2 commercial slots in my agency, or my network will pay me to put, these commercials in. And then I give them my numbers. They go around and say how great their group of people are, and they make a bunch of money and they get a cut somehow. So anyway, that's basically what this was an hour of. This was the group of people. Adam Richardson is over here somewhere. You can't see him. Can you see my mouse moving around? Like that hand on the screen? Is that moving?
Yeah.
So way far away from me. I came in and I took a left because this was an open spot and I had the dog. So I just came over here so I wouldn't, in case the dog went nuts or something, I could book out. Plus, I like getting in a corner where I can see, like, a picture like this to document the whole group size or whatever. But all these people were here before me because of parking and blah, blah, blah. I didn't get there right on time. I'm probably 5 minutes late here. But few people came in after me still. And it didn't fill much after this. But there a couple more spots did fill in. That being said, this is just rough count what we got. I usually do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 20 chairs potential, but you can tell there's not really 20 chairs everywhere. So there's probably more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 chairs in each of these sections. So this is not a full section. This one's kind of full. This one might be full. There might be 30, 40, 45, 50 people in this room. Like, you know what I mean? Like a rough estimate. And they're all sitting over here. At least 40 of them are sitting right here. I didn't know, except for Adam or John Richardson, right? The lawyers and money, been around for a long time. I'm saying the right name, right? John Richardson. I think he's the only one.
John Richardson.
He's the only one I recognize. I recognize like what can't I think of his name right now? But anyway, there was one other person I recognized, and then Clover and Ghost showed up for the second one. And but anyway, this was an hour worth of, you really can't do nothing by yourself. You need to be in an agency, or you need to be in a network in order to have all your problems solved. And I really didn't like it. It did. And the thing is, I got there, I was like, okay, I'm walking into the event, and they're like, nope, you're media, you're going up to that. The only thing you can do until 11 is go up into this room. The only people that can walk into the event are the vendors. So it wasn't really a media day. It was a media 11 to 3. So when I say it was there all day, it was really from 11 to 3, right? It was not like a full 8 hours or anything. But this first hour was, you got some cookies and some coffee and some water in the back, and then listen to these 3 dudes from, I think it was Forge Relations and one other guy, that were telling us how, or telling these people that if you wanted to accomplish anything, it's just going to be so much easier with an agency, and all you got to do is join the agency. It's simple. There's nothing to it. And I was skeptical about that. We don't want to get into all that unless we need to. But anyhow, that was the first hour. And then the second hour, do I have a picture from the second hour? A bunch of people left. Some people showed up, and you could tell some of these people in the back didn't want to just sit down up front, I guess. But the second hour was affiliate marketing. So that's, where like somebody's selling something, they'll give you a cut if you promote it or something. So there's a couple of services that do that. And that's what we had, as representatives from those 2 services telling us, oh, it's so easy. And, nah, just kidding. They're basically, it's a thing. And this one was a little more practical, because it wasn't trying to say like you have to do it. It was just saying like, hey, if you want to, it's an option. And the thing is, it's frustrating for me as a person who likes to see people succeed. And I've been doing this for a long time. So I've seen people succeed, and I've seen more people fail, just like restaurants or anything, right? But when I don't know anybody in this room, so I don't like it's a different situation than I'd been in rooms like this with like GRPC or the AmCon or something, and it's the opposite. I know almost everybody in the room, and when you know almost everybody, you know everybody's like place, like how their experience level and where they're at, and if they're successful or not. So I don't have any idea of the people in this room, but just from the way they were all, I don't know if they're all new. I don't want to assume they're all new.
Nope, they're not new.
The people in the room.
So I'm looking at who's in here, and I know at least 4 of them just from the back of them.
Right.
The girl with the purple hair, she's new. Right beside her, I think that's Olaf from Olaf Photography, and he's not new. Olaf's been around, if that's him.
No,
kind of looks like him in the blue. Okay, yep.
Yeah. He played with Bit for a little bit, and then Oleg Volk is his name, and he's one of the people that inspired me to even do this. He was there, but he left. He's not doing this for money, right? He's doing this as a thing. So basically, though, anyway, so go ahead.
And the 2 guys you're sitting beside over here in the right, in the left corner. Yep, those 2 from Apex. Right in the very left, the guy in the big white shirt.
Yeah, that
right there. Yeah,
I can figure out where it went. It has a better picture. This one.
Yeah. Yeah, great dudes, man.
Okay.
I've hung out with them and talked to them, so they've been around for a minute. And then you go to the back of the room. I think that's Felicia and her husband. Yep, and they own a training company and do content also.
Okay. This dude asked a couple of questions, and I could tell from the my impression from the questions was new to the scene, but
yeah. And the dark-skinned brother in the back seat, I think that's Harrison from Double Tap Coalition. He hangs out with KD and stuff. Yep, that's him.
Oh, okay. Like I say, they didn't. And here's what bothers me is if they're really going to do something like this. This isn't HamCon, so it's not like they owed it to us. But if you're going to bring all these people together, do a thing. I mean, you're going to be there for an hour, and it's mandatory. Fucking introduce us to each other. None of us knew each other. Like, at least let the people who want to stand up and introduce themselves do it, so that there's some amount of like usefulness of this. Because this was like, let's all pile in a room. I'm not good at remembering people unless you come up and do something weird in front of me. Like I'm not going to remember anybody, right? Especially like in something like this. I'm worried about my camera, and I'm worried about my dog, and I'm worried about what I'm doing later. So I'm not here to network. So if they forced that a little bit, I'd have been like, oh, that's cool. But anyway, that wasn't, I don't know what they're thinking here. But this, like I say, the affiliate marketing thing is more frustrating me. I guess what I was about to go off on is that everybody in this room is focused on guns. And like I say, I'd like to see people succeed. And even to be in this room, this guy's got a backpack. Everybody's got a backpack. They're wearing shoes, right? They've got shirts on of some sort. They've got watch on right here. They're fiddling with freaking phones that cost $700. My new phone costs $700. And you know what I mean? Like they've got cameras in those bags. They've got something to connect them to the internet. So yeah, affiliate marketing is awesome, but we're not just, you know, it's not like, oh, I have to somehow sell a pistol every time I do a YouTube video. Nah, there's more to it than that. And there's ways for us to integrate ourselves into the greater community with those types of efforts, and they bust the fucking boat on that 1,000%. Like I'm not here to bitch about shit, but at the same time, when you force me to sit through 2 hours of seminar lecture about shit that I'm passionate about, well, fuck it, you're gonna get kicked back. Like you can't in the fucking room and listen to your sales pitch. SHOT Show used to do that to us. I almost got kicked out of SHOT Show in 2007. Imagine that. I've been going to SHOT Show since 2005. In the second year of SHOT Show, I almost got kicked out because I had to go to some lecture bullshit sales pitch, and I was standing at the door going, hey, if you want an alternative to that sales pitch, you know, I gave people my card because they were basically telling us, hey, you want to, this is in 2007. There was not that much stuff on the internet, period, that with guns. Like there wasn't that much stuff on the internet. There wasn't that stuff on the internet with guns at all. And they were telling us, and I forget who it was, but some company who sold a shopping cart was saying like, hey, you want to go online and get a website? All you got to do is join our shopping cart thing for $1 million a day. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And if you sell enough, then it makes it worth your while. And I was like, fuck that. Like I can make you a website for a couple $100, and then you can decide, you know, what you want to pour into that or not, just like any kind of marketing. But anyway, yeah, they got mad. They don't like you standing there, you know, handing out cards right after a sales pitch. So I, you know, like I say, I've got my own opinions on this concept of seminar / sales pitch. And if these people are paying for this, I don't know how this breaks down, but if like these companies are paying for it, then I kind of get it. Then I want to hold them more accountable for what, you know, stuff they're presenting, or at least give us options. Like don't force us to go in here. But if it's the other way around, if GOA is paying them, then I'm appalled. I have no idea why they would do that. But I have no idea how that breaks down. I don't know if they want to talk about it or if they've mentioned it. Or
yeah, anything. I have no idea.
Anyway, you definitely didn't miss anything. You missed 2 hours of look at everybody's just talking. You know,
I have no idea.
For the most part.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my whole thing is I didn't know about it, and yeah, I probably would have went and wasted my time there. I probably would have got up and walked out because no, I'm not going to listen to that
what
crap.
Sucks is the only
because
place
I'm doing something different.
All you can do is go out front and stand outside by that big wig container or the big sunball, or stand at the place where you picked up your badges. Like there was nothing to do. So that's why I was like, well, I'm just going to sit here because I got free. And, you know, I was sitting in the corner shutting up. Now I'm bitching about it. But at the time I was just sitting there absorbing it, trying to find the, whatever you call it, bright side of it. But I didn't enjoy it. All right. Well, anyway, so like,
so
bitch about it. I just don't think, oh, here's the cookie.
One of the good parts about being at those events is the ability to network.
For sure.
Network. If you're a creator, it definitely allows you to network, talk to people, maybe even hook up or even collaborate with people during just content, opening up yourselves. I mean, look, and it's one of those look for opportunity things. You got to go into it with that mindset. Hey, I'm over here with the guys from Apex Mountain. They have a YouTube channel. They have this and that. Check them out. Give them a follow. That kind of thing. Why not? Especially because you're stuck there. It's an hour-long thing, and sometimes you're bored. And then you're going to see the same people. If you're in the media part, you're going to see the same people on the floor for 3 days in a row. Go up to them and talk to them and set something up. I know I did. Um, and I got to hang out with the guys from Henry for a minute, which I really do enjoy them. It really sucks that they moved out of Bayonne, New Jersey, and they moved fully into Wisconsin now. So New Jersey lost another firearms manufacturer. Way to go, Garden State.
And that used to be their like offices, and they manufactured in Wisconsin.
They manufactured rimfire. I never got to these guys, by the way, and I meant to. Gun Freedom Radio and Casey and all those guys.
See where they're at? Like it's the very far corner. You could have missed them easily.
Yeah. Oh, I got over to right behind them. That row behind them, I got to, and I didn't make it around the curtain because that's where, as far as I got, was her, Patricia, over at Virginia VDL. What is it?
Virginia Citizens Defense League.
Virginia Citizens Defense League. Yeah, that's as far as I got, and those guys were right behind that curtain. Now this is on a complete other side of the event, over by Dario Arms.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to show. I thought this was kind of cool. Like all the other, well, I don't know. Does the Great American Outdoor Show is for kids, I think, too. But most of the other events are adults only. This one was kid friendly. But then instead of just being like, yeah, bring your kids and have them in the way of everybody, they were like, here's a big section, like a quarter of the floor, I think it seemed like where they had like games and run around, wear them out.
And I think it was great. And I'd like to apologize for all the people that didn't get to be in the bounce house because of something I said last year.
So I went over to Taurus and I was carrying out a little puppy, and they go, "Oh my goodness!" And I'm like, "They're like, can we take a picture?" And I was like, "Yeah, how about if I put him in that chair over there?" And they're like, "Yes." So these are my pictures, but one of their pictures, the dude at Taurus got a picture where the dog's looking right through the scope, basically, and it's perfect,
nice,
like this. So this is just my picture, but like I didn't get a good one, but there is a better one. When you see my better one, it's the one that the Taurus guy took. Anyway, so they were super happy. And what's cool is for me, for the puppy at least, is that like Taurus is one of the booths that's like, oh, if you're at SHOT Show and you need somebody to hold on to that puppy, like you just bring it over to the Taurus booth and we're babysitting.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's another reason if you're with Taurus, they're pro puppy. This is an Arizona company. So got them in. You ever work with them?
No, not if I actually was over. Oh, yeah, you know who that is, right? That's Kurt from what the heck is Kurt from? He was from he was from an ammo company, and before that he was with Action Firearms.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that
so
Arizona, and they make these out of like the same material that like tires are made of. I think they are just tires chopped up and then smushed, but so they're shooting through like a tire material, but they just paint it white so it kind of looks like steel. But there's no ricochet. You're just shooting. And when you shoot through the paint or whatever, it leaves a little hole. So it's kind of like a shoot and see. And then you just go paint it with spray paint when you're done in it.
Yep.
It's self-healing. They last a long time. Clover's been using them for a while. He gets paid by them. I don't. But I do think it's a cool concept. And,
yeah, because it lasts.
Material. Yeah, exactly. It lasts as long as steel almost.
And you don't have to worry about the targets themselves getting wet when you're out on the range and doing that stupid, you know what I mean? Peeling away and then being destroyed and your shots not being shown on it. Now, for somebody that ran stuff like I did, like with our Minuteman Challenge, I just changed that up and just paint. Okay, for the people that don't remember the Minuteman Challenge, we had drills that we'd run, and you'd shoot different shapes, and they had numbers in them. So for something like that on a rainy day, man, throw those targets up. I could paint the freaking shapes on them myself with the numbers on them, and I don't have to worry about them being destroyed.
I asked Tipman to make a tiny Gatling gun for this dude, and they came through.
Nice.
I don't know if you've seen this thing when you were there. They had it on the table, but unless you're like looking for it. So it's a 380, but it's a pump and it's a pistol. So I think it said it holds 7 or 8, maybe 7, but then it slam fires. So when you have a pump or a lever action, sometimes if they make it the way Browning made it, you can hold the trigger back and just cycle the action, and it'll, that's how he invented the machine gun, is just by, operating a lever with a paddle. So this lets you slam fire 7 rounds of 380, out of a little pistol. I think that's pretty neat. That was my favorite gun of the show. Not necessarily practical, but I think guns can be fun too. Do you think that would go over at a varsity shoot?
A little 380 being shot from that, the slam fires, maybe, maybe not. I mean, heck, I was surprised. I'm always surprised by what these dudes do, because I've watched them shoot 50 cals in my event, as I'm horrified by it.
Speaking of cows, this is one of the next pictures. I thought this was the coolest thing. They just took a big ring and drilled a bunch of holes like you get in dummy rounds, just that they did it like with some consistency so that they all kind of look right. I just thought that was, I don't think I've ever seen anybody present like a bunch of calibers that way before, and it just seems like such
That's
a
pretty cool
thing, right? That's why I took a picture of it. Otherwise, that's like a short Barrett. I kind of like the short Barrett, but I don't know if that's necessarily practical. It looks almost like a, you know what I mean? Like that barrel can't be 16 inches long or something.
Yeah, they still make the Rec 7? I know they sold to an Australian company.
Well, that's a good question. I didn't talk to him or nothing. I just took that picture.
Because I really want to. So I have High Point, and they're going to send me their firearm because High Point makes AR-15s now, and I'm going to get that, and it's a $500. Hey, there's Roy and his guys.
You know these guys?
Yeah, that's Roy Hill in the background waving. And he hosts this thing with special operations veterans. The guy to the left by the sign in the black shirt with the beard, he had his dog there. You can see the paws behind the table.
Oh, yeah.
He had his dog there, and I've met him. I think first time at SHOT Show a few years ago, and he's one of those veteran dudes, and they actually help fund something for special operations dudes that, because Roy's a good guy and he hooks up with awesome organizations. Roy used to be with Brownells, and now he's with this organization. Plus, he also does other stuff because Roy's a gun guy. He's a firearms instructor that actually taught at schools and stuff. He teaches long distance and that classic shooting. And if you follow him, I think it's Possum Fatback on IG, you'll see him do things like break out a World War I like German training rifle and stand offhand at like 200 and just nail a steel target with the classic shooter style, like the classic competition style, that kind of thing. I don't remember if he does it with pistols, but I definitely know he does it with rifles. Yeah. Love Roy. Good guy, and if he's behind the organization, you should check it out. Really cool. I tell you who I did meet that I didn't know who he was. This gentleman named Sam. What was his name? California Sam, they called him, with GOA. So I'm over talking. I think I ran into Pete Brownells. And it was between walking from one area to the other, and he had Sam with him. So I was talking about this Sam Paredes, GOA board member, leader of the Gun Owners Foundation, and he was with the Gun Owners of California. And we were just talking and, talking about the advocacy work I'm doing and the hope that it's going to grow and that I can be able to actually host in other states and go on tours. Because we did have a tour plan, a couple of years ago, but it was stunted by my not being a 501c3. And he was like, yeah, it sounds like a really great plan. And we were just having a conversation as advocates and activists. And I was like, all right, I have to go. Forgot where I had to go, but he shook my hand. And in my palm, he put a challenge coin. And it's from 1975 to 2025 Gun Owners of California challenge coin, celebrating their 50 years. He passed away last week, like a week after goals. He actually passed away. I didn't know who he was. You know what I mean? In the whole overall advocacy organization. I just saw him as another dude with a GOA shirt on. I didn't know that he'd put so much work into uh, the thing. Oh, that was cool. I didn't even know that was on the floor. That's a British one, right?
I don't know what
That's
that is.
that's a British fighting vehicle.
I asked if they could throw the puppy up there to get a picture, and they're like, "Oh, of course, yeah, no problem." And as soon as I said that, like a group of gun bunny type of chicks came over and started doing their thing, getting in it. And I'm like, "All right, I'm leaving. Like, I'll come back."
Yeah.
But this was probably the only picture you could have got of this thing all day without people clawing all over it. So I didn't get I went back kind of to try to get a picture, but I don't know what it is. I don't know nothing about military vehicles. It's some kind of half track, or no, it's a half track. I don't know what it is. Armored.
Yeah, APC.
It's not a tank. Is it for? It's not a personnel carrier, is it?
Yep.
Maybe it is. I guess
it's a whole family of them.
But anyway, I don't know.
It's a whole family of them. Yeah, I love it.
Just that it looks cool or whatever. And like I say though, but as soon as it was in the corner, kind of opposite of Cheryl Todd and them. So I look over at it. Like if you walked in the building and Cheryl Todd and Gun Frame Radio was over on the left, this was over on the right, in the same place. And then if you walk this way, then you would get to where the kids were, that kids area.
I'm a moron, dude. I came in because I walked down from what High Point is down that row, cutting the place in half.
Yeah.
And I made a left and went down that way where U.S. Law Shield was because I saw their sign. And I think that was on the right.
Yep.
If I would have turned the other way.
And it was by itself in a way that I'll bet you during the day people would gather there and talk and bullshit to each other. So you could have missed it because it looks like a big tank, but it's not much bigger than a car. It's not a huge.
Thank you for posting this. I gotta contact them. They built a Jersey legal gun for me.
Oh, DSA?
Yeah, they built a Jersey legal 11.5-inch 308.
That's cool. This was
all I have to do is have it sent. Oh wow, that's awesome, dude. I think it's really smart to have stuff for the kids. Hey, I know that lady.
That's a dog dude right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, when I throw, because I don't do selfies or nothing, but some people like selfies, so I throw my dog at them, and some people are used to it. But you can tell Mike is used to doing selfies, but he's also used to holding on to dogs because he's there's a lot of people that hold on to that dog, like if he's some kind of fragile thing, or like if he's some kind of stink bag, which he is, but like they don't want dog hair on him or something. So I mean, I don't really care, but it's sort of an interesting side thing that when you throw a dog at a bunch of people at a show like this, you get to see, who's dog people.
How they react.
I'd say like 99% of them are dog people. There's Angry Sarge. He don't give a shit. He's just holding a dog.
I'm just laughing because Mike is over at the Bursa booth. And if you know their relationship, it's just funny. He was the importer when he had Eagle Imports. He was the importer for Bursa. And the cool part is he was in Jersey. Bursa was imported through Jersey.
I must have something ended. I ended with Mike's picture here, but that's not the last picture. I don't know what happened.
The hairy heck is that?
This is just a can. This is a GSL, is a company that makes cans and sells cans. I don't know if they make them, but it's the Iketomi Tower as the
nice
for an MP5 looking pistol, I guess.
Nice,
cool. And it's kind of hard to see because the lighting's not great. If I fiddled with the lighting on this, it'd probably be a little easier to see.
Oh, that is awesome. That is freaking smart.
What did I do? I must
have
deleted some pictures or something, but I don't know why unless I have no idea why they wouldn't be on this in this folder where all the rest of these pictures are. But anyway, let's just say that's the end of my pictures. I had a couple of more. Oh, I'm going to put this one up for a second. I had a couple of more of kind of the facilities and stuff, and cigar area. And I'm trying to remember what all I'm missing in here. I must have moved them, and maybe I have too abruptly moved and ended the file transfer or something, because it's like I'm missing maybe a dozen. I think I have one here from like some spread. I didn't go to this, but I was using the elevator because I was scooting the dog around in like a wheeled cart. So instead I couldn't use stairs. I just went to the elevator, which is a nice excuse to never have to go upstairs, FYI. And as long as you put a little dog in your cart, nobody complains that you got a cart. Usually, if you carry a cart around in any kind of environment like this, everybody hates
Oh
you.
yeah.
You're an asshole.
Yep.
But if you put a little puppy in there, then it's like, oh, that guy's carrying a little puppy around in a cart. This is
Oh,
amazing.
look at the puppy. Smart move, sir.
Well, I didn't do it intentionally, but yeah, it works out. I'm learning. So now I'm not even worried. Next year at SHOT Show, I'm not carrying that dog. He's going to be his little cart. I might get a smaller cart. I was using my big ass cart, and I do have like a lot of carts. So anyway, came out of the elevator, and what had been just a big area when I went downstairs, when I came upstairs, it was all decked out with this deluxe situation. And I'm like, I'm not desperate to eat everything, so I didn't snag none of this, but I'm pretty sure I could have snagged as much of this food as I wanted because there was no guards or nothing, and I don't know what it was for. Oh, maybe there's a sign here. Nope, it just says what it is.
No.
So I don't know how
cool.
you be invited to this. Did you go to this?
No.
But I mean, this isn't
don't even know what this.
I was gonna, I take pictures of stuff like this. Maybe I'm weird, but to me, like this is an indication of the whatever you want to say, like the planning or like the amount of give a shit they give. And then this for that that lecture at the beginning of the day, I think is also an indication of how much give a shit, because this is probably hundreds of bucks, but it's not. Let's hire a bakery and bring in actual shit and somebody pouring coffee, which would have been thousands of bucks. But at the same time, if they're trying to sweeten us up and get us to join their bullshit, then sweeten us up. Bring some shit in that isn't like out of a bag. But anyway, I'm complaining.
So this, so you didn't go to the media room, did you?
Oh, there's a media room? No, I think I found out about it after. It was like looking down.
Okay.
No, I never went.
Okay, so you saw the Spanish version GOA, right? Did you walk past their booth in the hallway? It was near where the cigar, when you walk outside to get cigars. Yeah, I meant to come back to
you
them
know what,
I thought I was different.
I didn't realize that they put a thing. I'm from Arizona, so everything out here is half in Spanish and half in English or whatever. So I don't like.
Gotcha.
I was just like, oh, look, that's cool, and I just walked in. I didn't realize that it's like, hey, if you're Spanish, you got to go over in this corner and listen to it over in Spanish or whatever. I didn't know that was.
Well, my whole thing was, of course, I'm from Jersey, same, almost. You know what I mean? But I like the fact that they recognize that, Latinos are a growing part, and they should, if not cater, at least set something up. But right across from them was the opening for the regular media lunchroom food thing. So I didn't see a spread like this one, but so I was in there because I'm fat and I'm drawn to free food. So I walk in and they'd had cookies and stuff like that, and they had finger foods. And I'm sitting there,
this was like one of like 5 tables of different things. I just took a picture of this because I thought it was so classy looking. Like this doesn't look cheap.
Oh yeah,
censored form.
Oh, not at all. And then they came back through and they actually bought lunch. And I'm like, well, I was going to go out and get something to eat, but now I don't have to. And I sit there and had dinner.
Nice.
So,
no, I wish I didn't stay because I had the dog and I was like, I'm not going to eat in front of the dog and then have my other dog sit out there. And then plus I don't think I was invited to anything. And this seemed too classy. This didn't seem like no media, like say food. Maybe back in the old days.
So my deal is, dude, everybody that donates and make this thing happen, I look at it as this is their money I'm spending. So if I can eat for free and don't have to buy anything, yes. Yeah. If I can get somewhere for free, yes. Because the flip side is I spend our money, i.e. my wife and I's money on this stuff. Oh, let's take it from her. You know what I mean? Let's take it from her. Let's take it from our savings and everything else. So I try to only spend money if I have to. I'm bringing water bottles. I'm doing the whole thing. I'm the cheapest man alive. Excuse me, tactically thrifty. Take that back. I'm not cheap. I'm tactically thrifty.
All right.
That's what you'll see.
You ever been to a Captain D's before?
Maybe once, if I'm not convinced, confusing it with Long John Silver's.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to Long John's, and I think I'd seen them before, but I forget where it was. I was somewhere driving to Knoxville, and I was staying someplace, and I went to the Long John Silver's, and if I get a bad vibe from a place, I'll just keep moving. and it was something about the car in front of me was having a fight with the guy or the lady doing the order.
In the window?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be around this, and I don't want to be the guy after they just had a big fit with this guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm driving, I can
Yeah.
go anywhere I want. So I went, I'm going to go somewhere else. But we don't have any kind of Long Johns in Arizona no more. The people that ran
Oh,
it
okay.
left or something. So I've been fiending like some kind of Long John Silver's fast food fish or whatever, and I decided to go to Captain D's. And long story short, is
Nice.
I think it's better. They have at some of them. I've been around the country now, and they don't all have it, but the ones that have this spicy version, I'm
Mhm.
like, it's like Long Johns, but they put spice in it, and it's like, what the hell? Why don't Long Johns do this? Like, what's wrong with them? So definitely pretty good. I would say on close to being really good, considering what it is. You know, obviously what it is. But and also I've been to like 3 of them now, and the crews are like, you know, like you go to some restaurants and it's like, I have to work here and blah, blah, blah. And you go to other places
Yeah.
and it's like somehow they put something in the water where the crews, and I know what it is. It's just good management. It's like a good company.
Mhm.
Like they treat everybody good. And that's what Captain D seemed like to me. Like Long Johns can be real hit or miss, like very good or bad. Like it's either, in fact, it's usually one way or the other. Like it's usually like, that's why I go to Long Johns, because when it's good, it's good. Like, but when you get it and it's bad, it's like, okay. And then what are you going to do about it? Like, oh, okay, they gave me a piece of old fish. Like, I'm not going to go back and ask for more fish because then you don't know what you're getting. Anyway, that's my, I agree with you. I don't try to spend too much when I'm traveling. I do, I guess, eat out once in a while, but I don't eat too crazy. But in this case, I was more experimenting with a chain, and it was
Oh, hell yeah.
less than $20 or something. But anyway,
So I live
people.
I live in the Long John Silver's area. Captain D's almost 200 miles from here in Jersey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and obviously I've never even heard of it. I think I've seen it on other road trips before, but this is the first time I decided to try it. Chief Fires likes them.
Well, I'm that kid. I'm that kid that didn't like fish growing up, and my dad loved freaking shrimp,
Oh,
and my mom could eat anything. You know what I mean? My mom grew up, eating fish. I just didn't like it. So we go to Long John Silver's, and I'd be like, chicken fingers.
yep.
Give me the.
I was going to
Give me
say,
the.
same thing. When I was a kid, my parents would go there for the fish, and I'd get chicken, and I used to like eating that shit. But because it was the same, I don't like now. I don't like the idea, but the breading is what it was. It's like,
Yep.
anyway. But like, I never thought about the shrimp. I think I can remember. I could definitely remember when they went to chicken, and it was like a big deal, and that's when I kind of started like going to there, because before then the fish was gross. Honestly, I didn't like the fish back in the day. I don't know if it was just different kind of fish or something, but it seemed gross inside compared to now. Maybe they cook it different. I don't know, but I'm also remembering long time ago. But anyway, I can kind of remember when they brought the chicken in, and I think I can remember when they brought the shrimp in, and it was like, like the grandparents would be like, like this is a like they had to ask permission to bring new items on the menu back in the day.
Yeah, we'd hate it. Yeah, speaking of new items in the menu, oh my goodness. How about all this hubbub made over freaking Cracker Barrel?
Dude, I wish I would have been aware of this when I was driving around, because I don't know how many Cracker Barrels I went past. Now, it's not my favorite restaurant or nothing, but it turns out to be one of those places, especially in our community, where it's like, you're going to the range, let's meet at Cracker Barrel. You're going to like SHOT Show Media Day, let's meet at Cracker Barrel. And it's probably just a factor that's always right off the highway, and you can get pretty much anything you want. Cracker Barrel is the one where you had to like walk through the old-fashioned store, and then there was a bunch of crap on the walls. Yeah, but the portions were good, so I never complained. And it was like breakfast all day, if I remember. So I never really
if you had wanted to
go, but I just don't like chains. So if I'd almost always rather go to a local place that's only open from like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. for breakfast, just because you're getting their version of toast and their version of whatever. And some places are amazing for that. But anyway, the Cracker Barrel was always like, okay, I'll go, but it was never my pick. But anyway, I would have probably at least tried to go to one of the new ones just to see. Like I say, I never really dug the old-fashioned vibe, but kind of reminded me of my grandparents or something, because they liked that kind of crap when they traveled.
See, for me, it just looked different. My whole issue with them is, of course, the food wasn't as good as it used to be. I just went right before I went to Knoxville. because I got my business cards. Actually, not before Nashville, before GunCon. I stopped at one because it was in the same plaza as the Staples that I got my business cards made at. And I was like, yeah, might as well grab something to eat. And I go in, and it's the same old, which is fine. It's fine that a store has its own personality and doesn't look like every other store. And I get inside and I sat down to get my food. And it's like, I've had better everything. Like, this is a step above nursing home food.
Well, it's like I call it like what do they call it? Commissary food, where like they're building it all at some some giant facility, flash freezing it, sending it out to the stores, and they heat it up.
Yep.
And yeah, I'd say I would go with breakfast, because how do you mess up an egg? Like you're probably getting those eggs locally, or you're probably getting them, you know what I mean? Like those eggs aren't all coming from one place. Those eggs are coming from somewhere that, is appropriate for the area. Same with like most of your stuff like bacon and that. But yeah, once you get into like the breads and the sauces and things, now it's coming from some commissary, some factory. Well, they're probably making it themselves, but it's coming, it's all coming from Iowa. It's all coming from Nebraska.
Yeah, it's getting shipped in from wherever. And
it's not good or bad. It's just usually, like you say, kind of bland, because they got to send the same thing everywhere, and not everybody can handle heat. Not everybody wants salt, right? Like they got to make it pretty middle of the road.
Yeah.
Well, the heavy part, when you don't know what it's like being a big fat guy. Like the big fat guy part is like, okay, I like those portion sizes. They definitely have.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're like driving or like doing something, like I'm talking like we'd meet up to do something. A lot of times we would do that after also, go to a class or something, and let's all go and crawl on the way home or something like that.
Yeah, She Fires has a totally different perspective as a in shape petite lady. She's like, yeah, it's a lot of food
and stuff, but like
it exercises and looks like it. Boo, boo, hiss, with you and your long healthy lifespan.
But seriously, like I think it had a lot going for it, or it does have. It's not like it's gone, but unless they've changed their portion sizes. But again, you're going to meet up at a place like that. Like you don't want to order like a BLT or something and fries, and then be like, now what do I order? A whole nother BLT and fries because I'm still hungry. But you know what I mean? Like if they just give you more portion, then it's like, all right, now I can actually order something. I don't know, we're talking bad guy stuff here, but fat guy topic.
But yeah, dude. So anyway, that was silly. One of the companies I don't think gets enough attention now, in my opinion, because it's newer and most people didn't hear of, is Daria Arms. Daria Arms is out of Turkey, and they actually were working a deal with what's the name of the company? Rock Island Armory. They were providing firearms for Rock Island Armory, so they had a little Glock clone that was and also they had a M9 Beretta 92 clone called the Malik, I think, or the Malik. And I thought those were pretty cool. Well, now they're not in Turkey anymore. They opened up an American, I guess, warehouse, maybe. It's not a plant because I don't think the things are produced here, or maybe they are, but in Florida. So now they're selling stuff on their own. So I think that is something you should look at. They started off their Gen 3 Glock clone prices at $225 MSRP.
And they're made
for Gen 3 Glock clone. I think that the newest one might be made in Florida. The island barreled one might be made in Florida, maybe, or I might be conflating them with Canic, because I know Canic is also being made in the U.S. now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Canic is being made in the U.S. I often say this and continually say it. We're right now in another golden age of firearms. We 100% are. And you should take advantage of it. Don't be that person. I kind of went off on last week's podcast on Firearms Radio Network. I was like, this is the good old days that we all complain about. We're in the middle of it. Stop acting like we're not. Oh, man, that looks delectable.
That's I don't know what to call it. It's like oatmeal, some kind of crust with like a heavy oatmeal, so kind of like what you'd have under a cobbler, but then chocolate, peanut butter, and chocolate. It was a little sloppy because it was hot, but if it was like normal temperature and this didn't melt, yeah, kind of like a mix between a brownie and a pie, maybe. I don't want to call it
A
pie.
crumb,
It had
like some kind of crumb.
yeah, it had like a crust like a cobbler or like I guess you could say a pie, but it was cut in a square, so I'm not calling it a pie. And it was you could got it. She asked me like if I wanted a piece with one piece of crust or if I wanted a piece with no crust, and I'm like, obviously I want the piece with two crusts. But anyway, yeah, this was $3, and it was obviously homemade. Obviously homemade. Very, very good. That was in a little tiny town in Wyoming. Sorry.
That's the cool place. I mean, I think it maybe, yeah, Marco got me involved in that when I traveled with him to the very first train and learn.
Stopping local.
Yep, stopping local and checking out local stuff. Even though 100% did stop and discover Steak and Shake, which is a chain, but it was a chain I'd never heard of before. And I wanted to check it out. I mean, we stopped at the first one because we were both hungry. And we stopped at the second one because on the way back because I insisted.
I think I can remember like one of the malls had a Steak and Shake. So I think I've eaten there before. And if I remember right, it was one of those places that you got like endless fries. But I might be mixing it up with Roy Rogers because it was the same thing. We had like one Roy Rogers that I've been to. This is one
Yeah, I
of
don't know what it.
the arcades where I think you shoot at the red things and then you just shoot these like pulses of light, but they had like little mare's legs and full size
Holy mackerel.
stuff. Kind of neat. I don't think it was BB's. I think it was
Laser.
BB's. Yeah, maybe it is BB's though, because why would there be a hose going to it if it was not BB's? I don't know. Oh, you know what? It's probably for blowback or for recoil or something. But that's at a place in Cody called Firearms Experience. Sorry, I'm just flipping through the random pics from the trip now. This is also in Cody.
So,
the only place I could find
nice.
buffalo that you could get at a butcher. For some reason, they raise buffalo, but you can't get them at a butcher anywhere.
All right. Bison, bacon, blue cheese crumbs, and buffalo sauce. The Buffalo Bills' last stand.
That happens to be what I got.
Oh, dude. Our fatness is in sync.
Very freaking good too. And this sauce is, I don't know, it's tangy and hot, and they're not afraid to make it hot. Like it was good. It was definitely good.
Nice. That's hilarious. Out of everything on that side. Oh, that's awesome though. Onion rings too. Onion rings.
Yeah, those are pretty good. I was doing onion rings as I was driving around. Then I got sick one time and I quit them. And then I was at this place and I'm like, nah, I'm getting the onion rings. I think the other options were like appealing, but I also was thinking just the look of that place. Did I show you like the inside? Like it looked like, I guess I just showed you the butcher part, but it looked like a restaurant that knew what they were doing.
Yeah, that's always good.
I'm at the one museum in Cody, the Dug Up Gun Museum. Good friends there. Like, I really like that museum. And this guy comes in as we're chatting, and he goes, I just came up from Du Bois, and they have the military vehicle museum. And, I'm like, I'll look at a military vehicle. Like, I got to drive some stuff, but it wasn't my thing. Like, I just never got into it. Like, I can understand people who dig it, but it's just, it wasn't my thing. So anyway, the guy's like, oh no, they got a big gun room, so you got to go. So I was like, okay, the gun room sold me. So this is the gun room, and it's a pretty decent. I think it's one guy's collection, but it's a pretty decent, and it gets into small arms. So unlike a lot of them that end here, maybe like boom, you get some shoulder fired stuff, which is, again, it's not my thing. I never got to shoot none of this. I got to shoot like a law, but all this rest of the shit is just alien to me. But it's cool looking, and I like seeing it in a museum. Like I say, most of the time you don't get to see them. But I can't even do justice to how amazing. What do I just have the guns? How amazing this museum is. It is. I did a video walkthrough that's like 20 minutes long, and these would be the still images that I took from the video. But I think this helmet collection just gives you an idea of like how complete and how interestingly they display it, and then how much information they get across. Sometimes you see this stuff that's like dark, and it's like, oh yeah, there's 100 helmets that kind of look the same. But I think they really did a good immersive, like interactive thing here. And for example, this is a guy that passed away, and that's his collection. He donated it to the museum, and I just dig, the story behind how these displays get there. Now this happens to be, I think, a rich guy. The most of this museum is a rich guy, but the way that they allowed the museum to expand and to grow with input from other people is really fucking neat. I don't know. I can't even explain. This definitely worth your time to visit if anybody's out there thinking about driving through essentially the middle of Wyoming. If this square is Wyoming, it's right about here. It's almost in the center of Wyoming, in a city called Du Bois. It's right next to the Wind River Nation. So anyhow, I'll post the video at some point, but. Oh man, I hope the video helps to explain, but you can imagine like how big this room must be to have like however big this is, and then 3 Jeeps. Like this place is huge. It's all indoors, it's air conditioned. You're only gonna I don't really do a good job of showing how wide the aisles are also, but they give you little scooters and shit if you can't make the walk, because a lot of people visiting this, are so old that they're not walking a mile and a half through the aisles. But you don't need to. You can walk, we'll go around independently on a little scooter. Just so cool. Like they thought of everything. There's stuff for kids. There's stuff for the old people that dealt with, that experienced this stuff. And then you drive a couple hour away and you're on the res, and you get trading posts with art and collections as well. Wyoming's pretty cool. Oh, since I'm just showing everybody my slides, I guess. I'm out enjoying my time. This is in the middle of Wyoming. Again, kind of middle of Wyoming. I'm sitting underneath of this. There's this shade from this rock, big ass rock. Look how big this rock is next to my van, right? Big ass rock, big tree. I'm sitting over here a little later on from when I took this picture. And a couple had driven in around me, and we're kind of almost on the other side of that rock, like very close to me, but on the other side of that rock. I'm sitting here and I've got my Starlink out, and I'm online live with Gizzard Gary, right? And it's evening. The campground is starting to kind of get more and more visitors and stuff, more and more people camping. But I'm pretty much by myself over here. The van is sitting here. This is supposed to be the campground, but I'm sitting way up in the shade over here. And a little while later, this guy gets dropped off with a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, that's odd, because most people that drive to a campground like leave, they park their car and they take their stuff out and they set up camp, but they don't get dropped off, right? They have their car with them. So it's just a little interesting that this guy got dropped off and with so much stuff, and it's kind of far away from me, so I'm not seeing details or nothing, but I can tell he got dropped off with this big pile of stuff. Well, he leaves the big pile of stuff in the parking area, and he starts walking up to me, and pretty much about 3 steps away from all this shit, I could tell that he's carrying 2 big machetes. And I'm like, well, this is interesting. And I'm live, and I'm like, I wonder if I should say this or anything, but he gets about a quarter or a third of the way to me and books off into the woods. So now I'm like, okay, some guy with 2 machetes who just got dropped off, just booked into the woods. There's like a lot of people camping here. What is going on? So I'm standing here looking off in this direction. There's like a river that goes through here. So most of the people camping here are camping and then immediately book into the river because it's hot as shit, and they're cooling off and fucking around playing in the river, right? And this guy's walked towards the river with his machetes, and I'm like waiting for the yells to start or what the hell is happening.
Yeah, right.
Right. And I'm like, so imagine me standing next to this rock, looking at, off to my right. And then the dude walks basically like if, there was a video, he'd be walking right in front of my van, right up through my camp towards me. And that's when I turn around and take a look. I'm like, what the fuck? He's already like past my van walking, whole lack of
The
situational
fuck?
awareness for sure, right? Because I'm camping in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, you can drive
Yeah,
to it, but it's essentially like 2 hours away from everywhere good, or more than
so
that,
what
really.
was Danny Trejo circling you for?
So he comes up and he says, and the thing is, he's got these 2 machetes. He's got them kind of his hands down to his sides, and I don't think I have a picture of him. I do that. You can watch it. Here's a picture of me at the thing and what it would look like, right? So he's walking up. He parked way down here, so I couldn't help but see him. He gets like
Yeah.
somewhere up in here. I guess I can zoom in. So I don't think you see any of his shit, but his shit is like a big pile of stuff over here in this parking lot. He gets to like here and books into the forest. And that's where I'm like, what the hell? So I'm looking over here to where, something he's going to start some ruckus or where he's going to pop out. And then, of course, he's over here. So he's between me and my van. I think the van doors were open at the time. And I'm live. So I flip the camera or the laptop around. The little thing at top here is the camera, right? So I turn the camera on, I flip it around, and the thing is, Gizzard didn't know none of this was happening. So on a screen, I'm like the Brady Bunch. I'm like, what am I? I'm the dad, I think, on Brady Bunch. Like I'm at the bottom, middle, right? And nobody knows it because he's also got a thing up saying, hey, win the free knife or whatever. So you can barely tell. But when we went back and looked afterwards, you can tell that this guy, okay, I didn't forget to tell you, he's wearing a t-shirt and a blue towel. So he's like got a blue towel wrapped around him like a kilt or like a skirt or something. You know how you do when you get in a shower. But that's what he's, and I don't know if he's wearing pants or what, or not pants, but shoes, because I'm honestly looking at these machetes. So he's got like 2 machetes. He's got his hands down to his sides, but he's kind of sort of tapping his leg with the one to either be like, I'm about to start doing something weird. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going, I'm like, there's a lot going on in the middle of nowhere, right? Like, again, middle of nowhere, like, not expecting this. He comes up and he says something like, are any of these camps open? And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like every single one of these camps is open except the one you're standing in, of course. Like, what the hell, right? So I go, yeah, all of them. I said something like that. And then he walked, try to look this up. He walks past my van to the right, and that would be the big rock. He like walks around that rock and he says something to those people. And that's where I was, holding the laptop and I didn't know what was going on. So that's where I set the laptop down. I thought he might have been over there popping a tire in my van or something. So I got over to behind my van, and then I see that he's boogieing down to all his stuff over here. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm leaving. Like, I'm only $5 invested in this campsite. Like, this is one of these pay on your own honor type of campsites or whatever. So I'm packing up. And as I'm packing up, I see him down here taking, it looks like if you took a comforter and put it in like a contractor bag, like imagine just a sloppy loose bag, but there's something in there that's fluffy. Like if you took something big and put it into a contractor bag, that's what he's grabbing over his head and walking, I don't know, 5 or 6 trips of stuff that he's taken into the woods over here. And I had taken my drone up earlier. So there's people camped like over here and over here and over here. Like I say, all the camps are kind of along the river. So yeah, this was just not adding up to anything I'd ever seen before or anything that just makes any sense. So anyway, I booked out of there, and that was my adventure and my weird ass adventure in Wyoming. There's more to it, but nothing exciting beyond that. I'm looking to see. I think this must be the last picture. I don't think you can see his pile of crap. This is probably still before Gizzard went live, but this was gonna be my office for the while. I did get some work done up here, but that's neat. When you can kind of just see that white corner. Oh, you can't see it because I got the words on the screen, but behind Mello there's this like little corner. That's the Starlink antenna, and it's just sitting there. It's wireless so you get as much battery life as you got on your laptop, and you can just be there. All you need to do is power those Starlink antenna. I do that with a little power bank that's like the size of a lunchbox. And I just had that all in my little cart, brought the dogs up, got them some water and stuff. And then, yeah, that was going to be a pretty nice, I was hoping, because this is looking east, I was hoping that when I woke up in the morning, I'd be able to get some work done as the sun was coming up. But the machetes scared me away. I got out of there.
Oh, yeah, dude. So, yeah, I've been looking because obviously I'm a psychopath. I think that armored vehicle was a British Scorpion, FV,
Oh, right on.
as in Victor 101. You're
You're talking about the one
stuck in my head.
some package.
Yeah, from one from goals, because I haven't seen anybody's picture of it, but I think that's what it was.
Let me show it again, and then you can get a better look at it. They had a pretty good picture of it. Like I say, I don't think too many people got like a raw picture of it because we were there on a light day, and I got there kind of at the beginning of that day. It's one of my first pictures, I think.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how inexpensive these things are to buy, or at least to get in on.
Oh, really? How much are they?
Yeah, I think that's it, baby. Yep. F of V is in Victor 101 Scorpion. Find out right now.
And is it an
Yeah.
APC? Is it an armored personnel carrier so that it's basically just like a row of seats inside, so that this gives you like armored, place to hide out in, but then this way they can bring like 12 dudes up into something.
It's a light tank. It's a light tanker reconnaissance vehicle.
Okay, so that's more like probably 3 dudes sitting in it and a bunch of ammo and gas.
Yeah. It's got a crew of ding, 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 ding. Wow, no crew now. It's got 190 horsepower engine.
Wow, that doesn't seem like a lot for a big thing like this. I guess it's not that
8 tons.
Holy shit.
8 tons.
It's 8 times heavier than my van. Holy crap. It's not that much bigger than my van either.
Yeah, and your van has more horsepower.
Crazy. That's how efficient they are, though, or like how effective they can make that machinery.
Yeah. Don't get a crew number on it. 76 millimeter gun. Because I was looking for it. I'm like, where is it? No one has it. I want to find out what it is. Let me see, because I saw one.
You say it's ours or it's French?
British. Oh, it's British. British.
Oh. I guess it kind of looks British. They got I found a British helmet the other day at a thrift store. It's not cheap. It's $40, but it's just pristine condition. Just the the kind that are kind of like ours but flat. So I kind of like it, but I don't like it, and it's I don't like it enough to pay $40 for it. But I'm wondering if I should have bought it anyway, because I don't know if it's worth more than that. But anyway, this kind of looks, from looking at that cover, maybe it made me remind me of that helmet.
Come here, baby. Why is everybody being so difficult with telling me how much these cost?
Sheepfire saying, did you really enjoy road tripping? I remember you mentioned it had been a while since you'd been on the road like that, especially with the pups. Yeah, except for going to SHOT, I haven't been traveling much for a couple of years because I was so in debt. But I got to say, I enjoyed it very, very, very much. I really enjoy the country, and I've taken road trips before where I'm on the highway, and I've taken road trips where I'm not on the highway. And on this one, I needed to get on the highway to get to Tulsa, and I was able to check out a couple of things just off the highway on my way to Tulsa. But then I wanted to get to the Daisy Museum, the Daisy BB Gun Museum, which is not really on a highway. And then this other museum, the Saunders Museum, which is in Berryville, Arkansas, which is where the Wilson Combat and Nighthawk are. And I've been there before with Haas, and we saw this museum, but I didn't go in, and I've been kicking myself, and I really wanted to get there. I finally got there. It was definitely worth the wait and worth going. It's a millionaire that married a billionaire very late in life. Neither of them had kids, but they decide this is a guy millionaire marries a lady billionaire, and none of them had kids. So they decide to drive around the world. And this is like in 1910, right? This is like a long time ago. They drive around the world collecting stuff to make a museum, and they leave the museum and the building and everything to Berryville, Arkansas. So you can just go in there. It's awesome. But he was the guy. Sorry, he was some sort of shooter, like a professional marksman or something, or really good competition shooter. I don't know his whole life story yet. Other than I thought I did. I knew that he was a rich guy and he collected, but I didn't. I learned that he was some sort of a actual accomplished shooter, to the point where Colt, the company, sent them every gun they ever made to get his opinion on it. And he was like a writer, so it was kind of like, like somebody nowadays getting a T&E gun to do a report on or whatever, but he was more like helping them to, get these things ready for production or whatever. So he's got a really neat collection of Colts that is never been shot because he had no interest in shooting these things. He just owns them. I mean, maybe they got shot for his evaluations, but you know what I mean? Like, they're basically this whole like line of brand new Colts that he was given. But he was so rich that he would go to people like Annie Oakley would just give him her guns. So he has Annie Oakley's guns, and it's not like, I wonder if these are Annie Oakley's guns. Like, she gave them to him. And then other things like, I don't know, like the guns from the Old West, like, Billy the Kid's gun or something. If he didn't get it from Billy the Kid, he bought it from the guy who got it from Billy the Kid, and he was rich enough to actually do that and not just be some, like, there's some museums that are like, hey, we got the gun from Billy the Kid, and here's a piece of paper that says so. This is a couple of steps beyond that because he did all this stuff back in the 1900s. Anyway, so this museum is super cool and definitely worth checking out. And those were off the beaten path. So this trip was a mix of being on the highway and a mix of being in the middle of nowhere. And the other thing was coming from Knoxville to where Gizzard is in Kansas. It's not easy to get there on the highway without going through Illinois. And I didn't want to go through Illinois for obvious reasons. So that took me to weird places. I don't mind those weird places. I don't know what it's called. There's a name for like is it a quad state area or something? Like, I don't know what they call it, but I know they call it something where the Ohio River and the Mississippi River meet. Like, that's like Memphis, just north of Memphis, where Illinois stops and where Kentucky and Tennessee and Missouri and Illinois and Arkansas all kind of smashed together. It's hillbilly-ish, I guess. Like, is that what you'd call that? I don't know if what's the proper term for it.
I mean,
but it's not swampy, so I can handle it. It's like foresty, so like it's like comfortable wise I can handle it. It's way more humid that I can deal with. But anyway, I don't mind going through that area because one, I don't have to go through Illinois, but it also gets me off the highways, and I like being able to stop at like, for example, I don't know, they probably have these around the country and I don't know about it, but I was driving along and there's just like a fruit stand, and I've seen those before, but I got out and there's nobody there. It's just like, hey, leave, it's an honor system thing. Like, here's a jar with some money in it. If you need to make change, take some. And if you're buying stuff, there's prices on it, but that kind of stuff is cool. You don't see that if you're driving down the highway. You don't find the things. So anyway, I did enjoy it a lot. So go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Just to wrap up without ranting for too long here, I really enjoyed it. I got a good mix. I stayed in Knoxville for a bit, and I planned on staying in a campground, which was a nice campground. It's just that not with all those mosquitoes and humidity, and then the campground didn't have power for what I needed. So I ended up kind of at the last minute going to a hotel. Found a hotel from like the 1950s, like a motel, I guess. And it's like a family owns it, and it was just super fun. Like, they're cool. They would, like, the family would, it's, how like the motels where they'd be like a long strip, and this one, like, the office is up front in the long strip, because you can put a motel is where you can park in front of your room, and they don't bother to make it like 7 stories tall or nothing. So anyway, the family would get out at like 7 p.m. and like walk around the thing like 10 times. I just thought that was cool as hell, that like a family buys this motel, and then that's like their business or whatever, and then they live in like the first couple of rooms, you could tell, and then you could tell like grandma was in this room because it was all set up like a grandma's, and then there was like a courtyard in the middle. Anyway, I thought this was like a cool little setup that I would have never discovered, and it was also like $60 a night, where everything else in that area was like 100 something. So, and the shower was super hot and powerful, so everything I'm looking for. Anyway, so it was a fun trip for that kind of stuff, and I kept looking for a buffalo steak. I don't eat meat, right? So the only thing I like eating is a buffalo once in a while, and I'd rather eat a buffalo steak if I can. And for some reason, I thought I could find them in somewhere, and I couldn't find them until South Dakota, which is weird. And
wow,
yeah, but I don't try it super hard. But anyway, so that got me looking at some different restaurants and stuff. And anyway, yeah, so I enjoyed the trip a lot, but I really enjoyed the fact that I've done road trips. I mean, I don't know, my whole life, I guess, because when I was a little kid, when we went places, there was road trips. We didn't fly very often. And we went on trips every summer. But, I've talked about this, like my dad liked to go to the Civil War battlefield. So I've probably been to all of those, it feels like. Then other trips would be to like go fishing or to like go to like one of the Disneys or something. So anyway, I've been on road trips my whole life, and most of the time it's either like a big snooze fest or boring or something, especially on the highways. I don't find chain restaurants and shit and that like sprawl to be all that appealing. But if you don't do that, or when you don't only do that, I guess, because you kind of have to take highways, you just get to experience the real United States. And I happened to be in DC, helping some family out when 9/11 happened, and I drove from Tucson back over there, and I was there for like a month, and I was just about to go home when all the 9/11 shit happened, and I was there. So we went and drove to the Pentagon and stuff to see it. Like I have, well, whatever, that's a whole nother story. But driving home after 9/11, I don't know how many people were alive back then to understand how different the world was after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
But the driving home after 9/11 was like, I don't even know. That's why you love this country, is because like the country came together, and people say that, but like I got to experience that a little differently, I think, because I didn't get to just see windows of it on TV. I drove. And back in the old days, before there was GPSs and cell phones, I think we might have had cell phones back then, right? But we definitely didn't have GPS and shit. Like you just drove on maps, or you just kind of figured you're going east. You just figured out what road went east and shit. And, you know, it was a lot different than now. Maybe you had AAA to kind of give you some maps with a highlighter or whatever. But anyway, it was that was an amazing experience. And a lot of stuff since then, so it was earlier, you know, middle of my life or whatever, a lot of stuff's been compared to that. This trip, it wasn't like oh, the world's better trip, nothing like that. But of all the trips I've been on, this one was a very positive, like everybody's getting along, like there's no artificial, like 9/11 was incredible, but it was also massively artificial, right? It was in response to the stress and the bullshit of all that violence, and then the like, I don't know, kind of everybody kind of was breathing a sigh of relief because it was kind of over. And that's when I drove home. Like I didn't drive home on 9/11 or nothing. I drove home like weeks later or something. So it was like you know, that kind of like understanding that like, okay, and then that resolve and shit. Like none of that exists right now because there's no stress like that induced on us. But just the, again, comparing it to the other times I've driven, you know, like just being in restaurants and being in truck stops and stuff, like the stress levels and the, I don't know, just the smiles on people's faces, maybe like the vibe, whatever you want to say. Like it's just amazing this time. Like, and I don't know, maybe it's just because I haven't been on the road for a while and I appreciate it. And you know, just, you know, same thing as like, you know, the first drink you get after being in the desert or something is going to be amazing, no matter what kind of water it is. But no, I really, really dug it. And well, I guess another piece of it, since we're chatting, is I've been broke for years and years and years. So I'm finally to the point where I'm not broke. So driving around the country and being able to, you know, whatever, fill up the gas and not be concerned that it's going to take off from eating 2 days later or something was amazing. So definitely different in that respect. Fruit and jerky stands, scratch and potes galore. I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, Scott asked a question. How did the Starlink work? So Starlink is amazing. Starlink is like, I don't think I have any pictures of it. I'll scroll through here if I can find one. It basically just looks like a plastic piece of paper. Mine is a portable one, so it's the mini, I think they call it. So it's basically 8.5 by 11 or something, and it's thicker. It's like as thick as a stack of papers, but it's very small. You plug in a wire to it, and that wire plugs into power. So you can either plug it into like a 12-volt cigarette lighter, or plug it into probably USB. I don't know if it would run off USB, or you can plug it into the wall. It comes with a couple of different plugs, and you can buy aftermarket plugs. But anyway, you just power it with 12 volts and then aim it at north. And as long as it has a view of the sky north, it's happy. If it has a view of the sky, you can connect. But if you can point it north, you can connect as fast as it can go, type of thing. And it's as fast as it can go. It is as fast as my internet at home. Here's a picture of it on top of the van. So it just looks like nothing. Has one cord going to it, and then it takes a minute or two, and it figures out where it is, and it connects. $50 a month. I paid $300 for it, and that was on sale. Now I think it's $400. I think normally the price is $500, but depending on how fast you need it or whatever. It seems like they change the sale price every once in a while. But anyway, so you buy it and then it's $50 a month. And what's cool about it is, since it's a travel thing for me, when I don't need it, I can just turn it off and then it won't cost $50 a month. So the months that you use it, it's $50, and the other months it's just turned off. Takes just a moment or two to set it up. Once you get used to, I don't know. Are you the kind of person that knows where north is all the time, John?
Nope. But it's not like it's hard to find out.
No, my watch will do it whenever I was at a place where I didn't just know, but for whatever reason, maybe it's because I'm driving or whatever, I just kind of know where north is when I park. So I just aim it in like the general area, and then it connects, and then you got like a phone app that kind of aims it in. But yeah, I definitely like the idea of selling it. I do get a cut, so I think I'm an affiliate even. So, but if you buy it,
nice.
Like give me, you're giving me a cut, like $2 or something, $5, $7. I don't remember what it is. I guess it depends on which one you buy. Now you can buy a more expensive one that is bigger and it connects to your house and it's not travel or whatever. And I don't think I'm going to do that, only because I think whenever I do the test, my internet is faster here than that one. But if it wasn't, or if it was the same, I'd consider it, because it works and I like it. The only issue is, because I just set it on top of the van, I'm concerned, like if I fall asleep with it up there, that somebody who knows it's worth $300 is just going to come up and snag it because it's not bolted down or anything.
Yeah, but they'd have to know, but who knows? Hey, I'm getting around $15,000 to purchase that.
To purchase this thing?
On the vehicle. Yeah, looking.
When you think about it, that's like a motorcycle. That's definitely not an RV.
Yeah.
RVs cost more than that. So I could see somebody buying this if they dug it.
Well, they just sold 101 of them to the Ukraine for $6 million. So what's that? 60,000 each?
Well, okay. When we're buying it, we're not buying it with fresh.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, brand new. They were able to get 100 of them for $6 million. So I'm assuming a surplus one. You know what I mean? At $15,000 would make sense.
Yeah, no, that's about right. The thing is, I don't even know. Like with cop cars, that's the only thing I really know about. I guess ambulances a little bit. With ambulances, I guess the difference between a cop car and an ambulance, there's not too many places that are buying an ambulance and then not using it. There certainly are, like an airport, maybe, like some place that has it, needs it, but just doesn't have to use it very often. And then they buy a new one. So that one they're getting rid of is pretty good. But police cars, they're kind of all over the place. Like you can think of like the police, whatever you call it, the police department gets 100 cop cars, and they give one to the chief, and they give one to some detective, and they give one to the patrol officer, and then they give one to the pursuit guy. Like each of those cars is going to get a different level of abuse or care, right? And you buy a chief's car, you're probably buying a brand new car that's just driven somebody back and forth to work every day, and it's got all that police stuff in it. But you buy a pursuit, and it's probably beat the crap out of. So that's what I'm not sure about these, is if I'm betting it's the same kind of thing though, where like some of them are for like training, and they've just been like 100 people sat in it and drove at 50 feet, but it's never been shot. Where some of them are, well, the thing is, they're probably all like that, because if they were actually used in war zone, then nobody ever brings these things back. It always costs too much to bring it back, right?
Well, I don't know, because I was reading, because I fell down this effing rabbit hole looking at this crap. And no, they're brought back if you have time. It's not like to pull out like we did, because we didn't leave American gear behind in Afghanistan. We left freaking stuff we sold to Afghanis. It wasn't like we left American helicopters.
Well, I'm thinking of like World War II and stuff too. Like a lot of times we'll just go, we're not going
to
that's your tanks at home, and it costs us like X amount of gas more, so just throw them in the ocean. Or we just leave them.
Yeah, no, because my uncle was there when they threw them in the ocean. They would throw a Navy, just dumping them. So yeah, that was different. Wow. So just found another APC, British APC, $8,000. $8,000 holds up to 10 people, 15 tons. It's pretty much the British version of our M113. So it's just the armored box. But I'm like, bro, definitely get one of these. Do a 4x4. I'd get one with an open bay. Do a 4x4. Turn it into a drinking thing. Maybe put some guns on it. Put some guns on it for what do you call bachelor parties? Have guys shoot off of it, then take the guns off and go drinking. Go what you call it with it up into the mountains or some shit in a 4x4. Because after a certain age, stupid ass bachelor parties for strippers are just stupid. It's like, look, go do some cool dude stuff.
Well, I'm not saying that it's out of the question what you're talking about because you got. I mean, I don't even know. When I was a little kid, we had a place where you could just play on tanks like this. They would just be static.
Mm-hmm.
They take all the stuff that you could. Well, they probably didn't even take the stuff off. It's just that over time, everybody took everything you could take off of it. But they kind of welded their, bolted shut the doors, and then we could just play on these. So I don't even. Maybe one of the reasons I'm not all impressed with tanks is because whatever year that was, I don't think there was like a Bradley, but we had pretty modern tanks. It was like a museum, so it was specimens, one of each kind. But they were they were in chopped up tires and some wood, so like chunks of bark, so grenades, and they were within distance of each other. You could wing whatever it was, chunks of rubber or wood at each other from one to one. And there was a duck. There was at least 2 ducks actually, so those were pretty good for hiding. Anyway, and then we could go camp there for scouts overnight, and that was the world we lived in back in the 80s, where this place had probably 12 tanks pointing at each other in 2 lines of 6, and they were far enough away from each other that you could wing stuff at it. Like you probably couldn't wing a piece of cork like 2 tanks down, but you could definitely hit somebody in the head from one to the other. And I forget all the games that we played, but basically you kind of start in the middle. If you had like 12 people, everybody grabbed their own tank, and then you'd wing stuff at each other. It was amazing. So anyway, I've climbed up onto these things like 1 billion times, fallen off of them 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Up. You turn around on the tank the wrong way, and you're getting something in your gut. Like they seem like, oh yeah, look, they're big or whatever. But once you're standing on them and you're not trying to fall off of it, like you're doing all kinds of stuff to get. There's a whole like whatever world of tank stuff I could totally get. And the thing is, like I said, I never got in one for real. Like I'm trying to think. I almost got ran over by M1s. We were walking down a thing on Fort Leonard Wood, and these 2 that's a tank fort, right? So they're in them there or whatever. So maybe they were doing shit wrong, or who knows, maybe they just didn't care. But you don't hear these things come. Like I had no idea that this was a tank. We were just walking down this thing. Back in the day, I don't know what it's like now. Back in the day, if they went to a range or something during the day, like if you needed to go get something, they didn't care. You'd go run home or whatever, go back to your barracks and get your shit and run back out here. So I think it was something like that. Or maybe we're on like some kind of extra duty or something. We were coming to where everybody was at a range. So I knew this path. And there was like these bigger paths. And I didn't realize. I thought they were just for marching down. You know what I mean? We had to march everywhere in formation. So anyway, I'm walking down this path, and I mean, I almost stuck my foot in front of like the tank treads of an M1. It was going like as fast as a car. I mean, it was going as fast as they can go, but I didn't hear nothing coming. Like I was just walking. Anyway, that scared the shit out of me. But that was about the only time I've ever seen one in action doing anything. And like I said, it's not like they stopped. They didn't know we were there. But I've seen how fast they can go. But anyway, so I've never been in around one. And I can imagine being around one or having been deployed from them or something. You'd have a much different appreciation, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's not one of my things. I mean, I was in aviation, so I was in the air wing.
Well, that's a whole nother level because you only get to see them at air shows. At least you get to see this kind of stuff on a more regular, at least more approachable. Somebody can own 2 or 3 vehicles. You only own a plane usually. And then you're not opening up a plane museum with that. Oh, I guess.
Okay, a 19.
With all the.
19,
go ahead.
Hold on. Right here. Because obviously I'm on the military vehicle surplus purchasing page. For a A4 Skyhawk, $900,000. Almost $1 million.
What is that? An airplane?
It's 9. Yeah, it's a freaking jet fighter.
Okay.
It's it was called Harriman Hot Rods. What was that?
That's the one with the big hook on the front, like for air refueling.
Yeah, it has a big nose thing on it.
Yeah, I like those.
Oh yeah, yeah. That reminds me, I got to go buy a lottery ticket today, or my wife's gonna punch me in the face. They're $900 million. I think it's up to now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's worth $1 or whatever, $2. It's worth $5 probably.
Yes, yeah. I think I'm gonna do the $4 thing, where you get the like double it or whatever bull crap. All I know is that it allows you to freaking dream big. Like, hey, what would the diversity shoot be like if Tony was a multi-millionaire? Y'all don't understand how petty Tony is. I'm gonna buy my military. I'm gonna buy my military time back and actually retire and get a freaking check from the freaking state. I didn't give y'all that time to walk away as a millionaire. Hell no, you gotta pay. What are you gonna do with the money? Probably donate it, but screw you, it's mine. The state's gonna have to write me a check for what year? A pension check.
I guess what I was thinking is that with like Dragon Man's and with that museum I just went to in Wyoming, there's obviously like an interest in military vehicles. So I wouldn't be surprised if, and I was thinking about Battlefield Vegas also. So I think in Battlefield Vegas, you can already rent a tank to run over a car. It's not cheap, but I think you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they just do that for, videos. I think you can actually just pay for that. But and there might already be this because I've seen it for construction equipment. But you've seen those things like there's, I guess you'd call them amusement parks for construction equipment.
Yep.
And you can I think a lot of it's bolted down, but you can at least get out there and move the bucket or something. Or maybe there is even ones that you drive around. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody bought some land in especially Kentucky. That's good. Tennessee and Kentucky, that's a good place for this, where you buy a bunch of land that nobody wants because it's all hilly or something. And then you just drive tanks around on it until you have a track. And that's all you'd have to do is drive around for a little while. And then you'd have a track and then rent that and let people, obviously with some sort of either a guide or some kind of a safety instruction course or something. But I mean, they're not that hard to drive. I'm assuming some of them are pretty easy to drive. Some of them must be harder. But if you're not trying to shoot stuff and
Mm-hmm.
if you're,
all you're doing is driving with your head out of it.
Yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen at some point because it's not like these things are unobtainable and they're not that huge. They're compared to some of that construction equipment, they're pretty small actually.
And truthfully, if you avoid main battle tanks and just do APCs and light tanks, I mean, we're talking between 8 and 12 tons. That's not a lot of weight to actually have transported to you. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Because you have to get it to you, and trying to get a 70 or 80 ton battle tank, excuse me, a 50 to 70 ton battle tank to you is going to cost a hell of a lot more than a freaking APC.
Well, I know that our M1 comes apart. I don't know. I'm assuming it comes apart and you could shake it or move it in pieces, but I don't know if all of them do that. I think that might be that one. I don't know.
Yeah, but then you got to put that bitch together. I'm just saying.
You need all kinds of equipment, you would think.
Mm-hmm.
That tank museum has the museum itself is a giant building, and then they have another giant building, and I accidentally drove around because I didn't know where I was going, and I ended up by the doors of that other building, and I'm pretty sure that whole second building is just like you're saying, basically a giant garage to work on those things, because you got to have massive hoists to pull out the turbine giant engines in some of these things, or just be able to have a room, to be able to get into there because of their cranes and shit that are on them.
And that's why I look at something like this one that you have up on the screen, and I'm like, yo, bro, that's a 190 horsepower engine. It's like an 8-ton, vehicle. So you're a lot better off financially riding up around that thing up and down hills through some mud. Get another vehicle that you could use to tow something if it gets stuck. You probably have pretty good. And I mean, truthfully, I believe what you're saying. You don't opening this by itself is not going to get eyeballs, but if you have it somewhere near, where the hell were we? Knoxville. So you have the convention center, and this is something they can do after, the convention, after hours or something. Hey, want to drive a tank? we got this place an hour down the road. Yeah, you can freaking drive a tank.
Going
That's not
back
going to be great.
to road tripping the way I do. It's stealth camp
Hmm.
is what I call it most of the time. This time I did stay in a hotel a couple of times, but when I'm stealth camping, it's essentially just sitting there and trying to not draw attention to yourself, and then sneak into your vehicle at night and sleep. And as long as you don't like pull out a bunch of tables and well, you can sprawl out onto a picnic table and nobody's gonna care. But as long as you don't like open the doors of your van and like pull out a picnic table and start having like a 4-person meal there or something, most people don't know or care that you're camping. It just looks like a person sitting on the side of the road, right? The reason I'm saying that is
Hmm.
when you do that, you're also not going into a hotel. That's the biggest difference for me, at least. It's like, yeah, I get to save money. That's fun. And it was necessary back in the day. But what I really like about it is the time that you save as a content creator, the time that you save not going into a hotel and farting around. Now, I'm not 100% hotel savvy, so there's probably ways that I could get into a hotel quicker than going through the front desk and renting it and all that kind of crap, and then getting your key and then going in and all that. But assuming you're not getting some kind of automatic check-in deal, uh, most of the time you're farting around, worrying about your hotel, getting into your hotel, checking in and all that. Then going, setting yourself up in the hotel, bringing in your luggage and blah, 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 right? Getting your laptop set up, at least for me. And then I can get to work. But usually by then, okay, I'm hungry. Now I got to go find some place to eat or something, right? So pack up whatever you're packing up, get in your vehicle, go down to the hotel lobby, whatever you're going to do, right? So you're not getting a lot of work done is what I'm getting at. And it's comfortable, super comfortable, and you get a shower and a shitter and everything. And like I say, often times there's food and coffee and stuff for sure. But what you get on the side of the road is just the reason I like it is because it's so fast. Like I can just park, I can pull out my laptop and give the dogs some water, and I'm working. And for me, I'm a nerd. Like all I am usually is editing those pictures and stuff like that, and like just getting a kind of jump on the work I'm going to need to do when I get home. Or jumping into a live chat, right? Doing something like this. Normally I would be doing this from the road or when I'm on the road. But the other side of that, I guess, is long ass rant again. But the other side of that is when you just park on the side of the road, like maybe you're in a gas station parking lot, maybe you're at a rest area, maybe you're at whatever the thing was that you were at and you're just in the parking lot, like whatever it is where you're just trying to mind your business and get your work done. What you end up doing is being like, and I usually use gun shows as my example of this. When you go to a gun show, you're the attendee, and your experience is going in the front door and choosing a pattern and walking around the aisles. When you go to a gun show as the promoter, your experience is finding a venue and making sure that people are going to want to show up, right? You have a much different thing. You're trying to figure out how to lay out the tables and everything, right? A totally different experience. So you go to a gun show as the vendor, and now it's a completely different experience because the promoter has set it all up for you and you've decided this is the one that's worth going to. So you show up ahead of time and you have this experience setting up with all the other vendors. And for people who have never done that, that's one of the reasons I love gun shows so much. Like that behind the scenes, the vendors talking to each other, usually on Friday or whatever, is blows my mind. It's just an amazing experience every time because every show is different. But then the show opens and now the vendors are sitting there and the attendees are walking by, and each of those experiences is 100% different from each other. And I don't think we don't take the time to think about that very often. So as a person who's on the road traveling, you're the attendee. Like you're seeing all the stuff that's presented for you. But as the person who owns a store, the person that works at a restaurant, the person that is at a gas station, you know what I mean? They're there to provide a service to all these people going by, and it's a commerce thing. They're at work, so it's they're aware of all these people going by, and you could ask them questions and they'd be able to answer them, but they're probably not all that impressed with it because it's their job. So as somebody who's just camping, and I camp right in front of everybody in the parking lots or whatever, like I get to see, and I guess this kind of going back to the question of how did I like the trip. I get to see what's going on. And when there's been times when I've been out on the road and all I see is truck drivers and cops, like because nobody's driving, nobody's doing nothing. And then there's been times where, again, time of the year, where you are and stuff makes a big difference. But then there's other times where it's like all families and stuff, right? There's times when it's a bunch of people, like SHOT Show or something, like boom, you'll see a lot of people going to SHOT Show for all the different roles there. So anyway, it's one of those kind of things. So I like the people watching of being able to stealth camp and like seeing the families going, you know, how many people are vacationing, seeing how many people are traveling as just young couples or whatever. And I think I bring that up because that's one I noticed this time is there's a lot of, maybe it was the places I went or maybe it was the time of year or something, but I saw a lot of like young couples out just in all different ways. You know, a lot of the things now is to have a vehicle with a tent up on top where you pop that tent like on top of your vehicle and you climb up a ladder. A lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it might be an economy thing, like it's cheaper to do that than go to a B&B, or maybe they're just enjoying it different. Like I don't know. But anyway, so I could see, I guess that was a long ass rant to say, I could definitely see just the people showing up for the travel, like just the people who are vacationing in a place like Knoxville. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like an attraction for the people on the road. Because there's just a lot of people just out there traveling. And I'm sure it's because of the time of year when school's out or whatever that, you know, this is the time to do road trips.
Well, 100%. And I mean, the worse the economy, the less people fly, the more they drive. And if you have places that are friendly to actual overnighting or overlanding, or because that's what they call it now. It used to be camping, but somehow now it needed its own special freaking name. Um, it's really cool. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm just at that age where I don't want. Look, I do enough for 2A4E. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want I don't want to fly. I just want to do something cool that's low stress. I don't want to have to worry about if these, people at the airport actually know their own policies. When I'm carrying a firearm, I'd rather just jump in a rental vehicle, and drive somewhere and be fine, unless the cops pull me over for some bizarre reason. I don't have interaction with authorities over this thing that I'm carrying that it's taboo to some people, and it makes me somehow something other than just a dude that wants to live my life and be able to protect my family. Oh my God, why do you have a firearm? Do you not watch the news? uh, but
Well, we've been chatting about goals quite a bit, I guess, and then my road trip because I saw my pictures out here. But instead of being focusing on that, there has been some news and shit, some stuff that's happened.
yeah,
Since
what? I don't know.
Could you even you'd have to sit here and think for a second to think of all of it in the last month. It's been a pretty full month. I want to say crazy month, but full month.
So, I mean, we can go back because I'm trying to think, because my memory is almost like everyone else's. Except understand, I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news every night. I haven't owned a television in 4 years. And the only shows I've watched since 2020, since what, 2021, where it was the Super Bowl, two Super Bowls with my wife on the phone. So it's not like I'm trying to act as if I'm better than anybody else. I'm just trying to explain how out of touch I am with someone that watches the news, nightly news. So my memory is, of course, the latest thing that happened was the mass shooting, which isn't one, but let's roll with it anyway, because they can change the definitions at the drop of a hat and forget the official FBI definition. Um, that just happened. Then we had another one before that. How do I know? Because both of these things happened. One happened on the day of the diversity shoot at Union Hill Gun Club, and then this one happened like 2 days before or one day before my diversity shoot. So we talked about that. What else happened? Oh, the deployment of the National Guard to Washington, D.C. That's a big thing because it just took on political connotations, and it's really hilarious that when something becomes political, they'll even lie about crime and not care about victims of crime at the same time you're yelling that you don't care about victims of crime. Like, who are these people and why does anyone listen to them? So that has been going on. So to me, when it comes down to firearms, it's you're on your own, no matter what, whether it's from the mass shooting or being a victim of crime in a major city, because the people in charge of that place that has the crime will lie about it and make it into the political football and not care that you're a victim of the crime. Oh, it's not so bad. Meanwhile, the mayor of DC just came out saying that carjackings are down 87% since the National Guard has been deployed, which makes you wonder who the hell are that 13% that's jacking cars when the National Guard is there? Move to Maryland, bro.
Dude, I think what a lot of this is too is I think you're joking, but like, you know what I mean, like the kid who takes the car and is from his mom's, or the keys from his mom's purse, and takes it when he's grounded, or the grandpa who doesn't realize that the granddaughter took the keys to go to some place that the parents didn't let her go. I think it's that kind of stuff that isn't like hardened criminals. And I'm just pulling fucking examples out of my ass, you know what I mean? But I think it's more like just the normal, I'm gonna call it like normal, either misunderstandings, or I guess they're technically crimes, but is it a crime when you granddaughter stealing a car from her grandparents to piss off her parents? Like, yeah, it's a crime, but it's a family thing. I'm guessing it's that kind of shit that, you know, is still getting reported, and it has to be a carjacking technically, because where else are they going to put it? But I don't think it's like you're saying. I don't think there's that many hardened criminals that are like walking in front of a whatever's going on there, and, you know, just walking in front of a cop and stealing a car anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it just bothers me that they politicize it. As somebody that grew up, um, you know, my family, my cousins live in DC. I told you the story about me being up there in 2019. Um, my cousins grew up in DC, so I've been hearing about DC and DC's crime, you know, my entire life. When they come down and tell us the war stories about living in DC, when I went up as a kid, you had to be careful. You pretty much expected your car to be broken into, and you couldn't leave anything out inside your car that someone would want to steal, and that didn't mean they wouldn't break into it anyway.
I don't
And it
think
was like that.
just DC. That was just the some areas, right? That of the whole country, I think, were like that, or maybe still.
Yeah, but understand, we only have one nation's capital.
Oh, that's
So
right.
when you're talking about this, because everybody's, oh, well, that's every major city. We have one capital. The capital shouldn't be also crime ridden like any other city. Sorry, the Vatican is a major city too, and they don't have high crime rates because they take pride in making sure it doesn't happen. We have allowed it to happen and go, well, it's just life in the city. Well, when that is one of the top 10 areas where there's crime in America, maybe we should talk about that. Maybe we should do something about that, especially when, of course, this is hilarious. During the Biden administration, we have the mayor, we have the police chief, and we have various members of the DC Council asking for the National Guard to be deployed. And then all of a sudden, it's totally forgotten because the next president comes in, does it, and is effective. It was like there was a presidential change, and you don't want to give the guy who's in the White House now credit for doing what you asked for with the last guy, and it worked. And now, yeah, but I didn't want him to make it work. Well, that's great, but you know, as somebody who has family living there, I'd really appreciate them not being victims of violent crime.
Yeah, that's the biggest. I mean, I'm with you. I don't follow the news now. When I was driving, I lost my cord for my whatever that's called, my satellite radio. Normally, when I travel, I listen to the Grateful Dead all the time on my satellite radio, and then if I don't, I listen to the Dead on my phone through my radio. But in this case, for whatever reason, I just didn't bother to set all that shit up. I think it's because I had too many other things charging my phones and stuff, and I just didn't need the extra hassle of worrying about the radio. So I just listened to the radio. And there's chunks of the country where there is no radio, or it's only country. So to me, that means there's no radio. You can almost always flip to AM and get religious stuff, but that's not my thing. So I've tried it before, and every once in a while you'll land on a station and you don't realize it's a religious station, and they're just talking the news or doing something, and then then you realize, oh wow, I've been listening to a religious station for the last 2 hours or something. So it's not like I have a problem with it. It's just that if it's just plain preaching or if it's just church songs, then I'm not necessarily listening to that for 2 hours. But
No.
right, so and I understand why. That's fine. I'm not bitching about it. I'm just saying, like, I consider like there's just not a lot of radio out there for some parts of the country. But then you get to other parts of the country and there's tons. And, depending if it's flat or if they just got a lot of money for antennas, I guess. But anyway, so pretty consistently there's NPR, and that's what I'll listen to. Not because I like it, but because it comes in pretty clearly in a lot of parts of the country because they have the money or whatever, the government's paying for it. Or it's part of the emergency broadcasting system, maybe, but for whatever reason, it usually comes in pretty darn clear when there's few options. And when there's a lot of options, it's usually also something that's consistent. So anyway, I've been listening to a lot of that. And I mean, it would be the same as listening to something far right. It's impossible to really get a grasp of what's going on in the news because you're only getting the news of the day or whatever, the news, the talking points, I guess. And those talking points are either from the same list as the other side, or they're only going to talk about what the other side talked about. So they might as well be from the same list as the other side, right? Like occasionally they might come up with their own idea to have a talking point, but it really seems like you're watching it's one side or the other of the tetherball game. So the way I look at it is I could listen to the right side, which usually bothers me because I don't agree with half of it. And then I don't like to, then I got to disagree with people that like guns. Or I can listen to the people that hate guns and I can just not agree with them. And now I can not agree with the people that hate guns, right? It seems like a lesser of two evils, but it also lets me hear what they think is so good or what they think is what they're so worried about. But I wasn't on the road for any of the mass murders, so I didn't hear any of that. But all the rest of the stuff you're talking about, I kind of got a little bit of it through NPR here and there. And again, I don't give it any credit. I look at it as the other side of a tetherball game or the other side of a ping pong game. Nobody's making any ground. They're just scoring points, right? And then, they're not going anywhere. Like the tetherball game happens around a pole, and that ping pong game is in somebody's basement, right? Like nothing's growing from this. Nothing's changing.
No, it's one side or the other. Actually, I was going to do a live today. I might do it tomorrow. I don't know. Just put a time in. I'm going to do it. Talking about all of the above because this thing happened. I mean, heck, I'm here. I'll talk about it here. I don't care. We can talk about it again tomorrow. Because of who the shooter is, I'm watching gun owners kind of be a little bit hypocritical. In this, well, it's all trans people. I'm like, bro, you sound like the other side when they go, it's all gun owners or it's all white males. Like, it was that psycho, it was that evil person, and stop blaming the firearm, just like we always said. What I said on stage during goals was we needed to talk to legislators before a mass shooting.
Yep.
Because contacting them right now, you're just another voice in a cacophony of voices being screamed at them.
Yep.
If you sit on your ass and do nothing, this is what happens. And then they start pushing legislation because they don't hear from pro-gun people continually. And some of them think they've never heard from you at all because you probably haven't. And it's like, so the only voices they hear is after something like this, and they don't have a position one way or the other, some of these guys. They aren't pro 2A. They're just somebody that ran because their family ran or whatever bizarre. They want power. Let's not even leave that one out. And that's why they're sitting in that chair on your city council, on your town council. You need to contact them before something happens because all of a sudden they think they need to do something because they're in power. And of course, the media tells you and tells people, oh, well, the government can fix this. The government can't fix violent crime unless they do exactly what they're doing in D.C., which is deploy the National Guard and have them on every street corner. That's the only way they can control it. And then they still can't prevent it. Again, it's down 87% carjacking. It didn't go down to zero. And maybe because of some of the reasons you said, but still, it's not down to zero.
Well, it's not down
what
to
has
zero because they're not complete fascists
Yeah.
either. Like in a fascist, I remember people don't believe me when I went to cop school like a million years ago. I went to like a few semesters of police classes when I thought I wanted to be a cop, and luckily, I always say luckily, went on ride-alongs and had a good instructor who said, "You don't want to be a cop, dude. You like this stuff, but you don't want to be a cop." And he was right, and it made me look in the mirror and go, you know, I don't want to be a cop. I like all this stuff, but I don't want to be a cop. Anyway, we were doing a class, and this was all just classroom stuff. Or ride along, but you know, nothing like police academy shit or anything like that. This was just going to classes or whatever and doing the book stuff. So it was like learning what is it? Not St. Louis. What's the end of the Mississippi called? Why can't I think of that?
The
name?
Delta?
No, where the thing.
The mouth of the Mississippi?
The town. It's New Orleans. I couldn't think of New Orleans for whatever reason.
Oh,
but New Orleans.
Wow.
They don't have regular police. They have parishes or something. So it was like that kind of stuff. It was dumb stuff, and it was like the origin of police. But it was interesting enough for like, you know, your preliminary police classes or whatever. But I remember in that class, they were showing us sort of like what you show you in the army, to show you what it's like in other countries, and they were showing us what it was like and blah blah blah. And in fascism in Italy, they'd be like, here's some differences. Like if you break down on the autobahn in Germany, they don't stop, they don't care. Like they will charge you, they will fine you. And I know people that had this happen to them. Like you run off the road on the autobahn and hit a tree, like you got to pay for the tree and you got to pay for a bunch of fines for running off the road. Like you're lucky you're not getting arrested. But you know what I mean? And then in Italy, it was like if they had a riot or something and they came in, they would back up deuce and a half. They would say, get out of here. They'd give you like 3 seconds and then they'd open fire. And that's fascism. And that's when you get no carjackings, is when there's, you know, the ultimate fear. Everybody in the neighborhood's going to die if somebody misbehaves. And nobody wants that. So I guess it's a long story again short, is that what they're calling fascism, what they're calling this and that, is sad because we haven't it's good, I guess, because we haven't had to deal with that really any time since World War II. I don't think we've had to deal with shit like that. But maybe there is, and we just don't hear about it in the news. But you know what I mean? There's not that there's not that understanding for people to put in comparison with. I think that's my new phone.
Yeah. 100% right. It just makes me laugh because I'm like, the same news outlets that's calling this fascism damn sure didn't call it that when Governor Kathy Hochul put the freaking New York National Guard in the subways. It's amazing. Didn't even call out that, 2 weeks before she said the crime was down and the crime wasn't that bad. And then like 2 weeks later, she, sends out the New York National Guard to be in the subways because crimes are so bad.
Now, I don't know every detail or anything about it, but I do know that it's a couple of layers of shit. Is one that I just understand from people who lived in that area, that DC is different because it's the District of Columbia. It's not Virginia or whatever, that they're supposed to be run by the feds or something. But the other side of it is, like you're saying, I don't think you said this exactly, but I think you were alluding to the same kind of thing, is that there's no way we should be championing or like applauding the idea that they're picking up people for gun ownership and arresting them for gun ownership, because that's sort of the whole fucking point, is that, everybody's to be trusted until they're not. And standing there with a gun is not that, across that line or whatever.
Yeah, just being out there with a firearm, especially in a city with a crime rate that's ridiculous. It's like, wait a minute, this is what you're harassing people for? How about getting your butts? Look, my whole thing is, as a firearms owner, I shouldn't be freaking harassed, all right? I shouldn't be harassed for owning a firearm as if I'm doing something wrong. And arresting people on the only charge is they own the gun. Oh, well, they didn't own a gun with the correct permit. No, look, we've seen the delays that are put in place intentionally, the delays and obstacles put in place by anti-gun legislation, anti-gun politicians. So I go, yeah, that's a non-starter for me too. And that's just me because I'm here like I'm trying to get a New York non-resident, it's going to cost about $1,000 all said and done.
Ugh.
If you take, yeah, exactly. And the only reason is because I fly with my firearms and I live in New Jersey. I plan on speaking in Florida at their Second Amendment rally in Florida in February of next year. What if it's snowing and they freaking redirect my plane from Newark Airport to New York Airport? I don't have a carry permit, but they're going to make if they make us stay overnight or unpack your shit because there's a big storm. I have to leave the airport with my handgun. I don't have a New York permit. Legally, I can't have my handgun in New York. I could be arrested immediately. Now, yes, I could win because I'm traveling between point A and point B and I got redirected against my will. But that doesn't get your gun back. That doesn't get you unbooked. That doesn't get you, all that. So I just try to explain to people that, yeah, I don't like paying attention to those rules because they're unconstitutional and they're not put in place to keep you safe.
We're getting to the 2.5 hour mark, but the other thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was worth bringing up, and we've only got like a couple of gun questions, I guess, and they were more like questions about slideshows and stuff. But is the other aspect that's been, I'm going to say frustrating, but I don't know if that's the right word, like annoying, whatever the word is, this time around with the mass murders is, I guess the fact that we haven't, like you said, figured out a way to put up some preventive maintenance, to put up a defensive barrier. I don't know the right words to say again, but like what I'm looking for. But like the same concept as you said is like talking to representatives at a time when there's no stress, when there's no issue at the moment, and we're not reacting. That's the biggest piece. Like because now we're the dynamic, the cycle, the way that they're exploiting atrocities like the mass murder is because they know that we don't have a consistent, concise go-to playbook to challenge their assertions with. And their assertions are, this just happened. It happened with this. If we just got rid of this, this wouldn't happen. And that's fucking, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just mittens. That's like, there's fucking nothing wrong with that logic. We can understand that when you fill in the blanks with all of our pieces, that it doesn't add up. But to the rest of the world, we don't get to tell them at this point ever, like, actually, it doesn't apply to us because, or, then you get the people that aren't comfortable, aren't exercised in these conversations, so they default to my rights and my property, which is fine, but that's not, again, going to cut the mustard or be effective at a time when the antis, are using atrocity to wail on us again. And that's how they move the Overton window, is they know when to stand around asking for money. We need money. Then an atrocity happens, and whether or not those happen intentionally or at a right timing, who gives a shit? An atrocity happens. An intentional, horrible thing happens from someone who understands that the media has a recipe, and if you do this with this at this place, and you can fill in those 3 gaps, that you will be infamous. You will fucking be infamous. You might have laws written about you, or because of you at least, and psychopaths will, or whatever the word is for people who worship those kind of people, will have you listed in their thing, and all the people who exploit this shit will add you to their list and never forget you. And everybody on our side will either bring you up all the fucking time or do everything we can to not bring you up. But you know what I mean? Like, they know they get included into all those lists by doing this thing with this thing at this place. And we all know what those 3 things are. And it's ridiculous that narrative created and exploited every single fucking time by the media and by the politicians and by the NGOs is what they are, the non-government organizations like Bloomberg's crew and the rest. They all make money off of this shit, this cycle or whatever. And it's because we don't have a consistent, concise rule book that we can all work from. And what the fuck? We have national level organizations that bring in, I mean, how many times do I have to bitch about how much money they bring in? We have at least one that brings in, what, $64 million a month? What the fuck? And then we have a couple that whenever they need to just jump on the scene with their memes and fucking this and that, and they bring in millions when they need to and they disappear when they don't. And none of these people can come up with a concise, clear rule book that we could apply when we don't have to be in, what's the word, in reacting to an atrocity. It's bullshit. So anyway, that's the part that frustrates the shit out of me, you know, that yet another time. Now, I suspect this one's going to drop off the radar because of the circumstances, the actual details or whatever. Like, it doesn't fit everybody's fucking narratives on either side. So this one is unfortunately a bunch of tragedy, I keep saying tragedy because I think everybody wants to say that, but tragedy is like an act of God or something, like an unexplicable thing that you unavoidable, like a meteor hitting the earth or an earthquake. That's a tragedy. When somebody that knows that the media will make them infamous if they take this and do this here, and they know that, then that's an atrocity. That's somebody who intentionally does it. And then again, you get the people that are going to split hairs or whatever you want to say, like worry about their aspect of it. Like, I don't like the person. I don't like the attitude. I don't like the place that they did it. I don't like the reporting on any of the above, right? And then, they called it this when it was actually a that. Or anyway, so the thing is, whatever the thing is, it's nothing new. Like, it happens, and it's because the media is waiting for it, and basically giving them carte blanche. Anytime you do this with this at this place, we're shutting everything else down, and you're getting. And I've looked at it before, back in the day, before the internet or before the AIs even. We looked this up, but there's more media attention given to these murders than there is to the presidential elections, the Super Bowl, and wars combined. Like, they will drop fucking everything for this. And the fact that we can't consistently, concisely bring that up, because here's the thing: how do you stop some motherfucker from being a dick? Is you don't, when they're going to come up and be a dick to you, and there's nothing you can do because they're like your boss, or they're some sort of like the boss's friend or something at work, right? Like, they got something on somebody, so they can come up and be a dick whenever they want. How do you challenge that? Do you go up and try to play in their playing field and look like a doofus in front of them and then get played in front of everybody? Or do you set it up ahead of time and go, this guy always does this, this guy always does this, this guy always does this, and then when they do it again, you go, see what I said? They always do it. Call their fucking play. I think that's the best way to get rid of an asshole who's being an asshole and uses the same old scheme over and over and over again, is you just start calling it out. Hey, the asshole is going to come up and ask for the free pretzel. Watch, the asshole is going to come up and ask for the free pretzel. And then when the asshole comes up and asks for the free pretzel, everybody in line is like, hey, wait a minute, asshole. How are you getting this free pretzel? We never even noticed, but you keep getting a free pretzel. I'm trying to come up with something that's, a weird topic. But I hope it gets the point across that we need to be preventing that shit.
You're 100% right. And it's annoying to me as somebody that does call this shit out every time. And also, because calling it out is one thing, but also giving people a counter, make those phone calls, get involved, actually join Second Amendment organizations, contact your legislator, and actually be a donor. I don't care if it's $10, but they see that you've given them money. You're on a whole nother level of, I need to pay attention to this mofo, especially the closer to local you get, and attend the meetings. Yes, being a citizen actually requires work. You can sit on your ass and just live here, but being an active citizen, or what a lot of gun people love to call themselves, as a patriot, involves more than just living in America. It involves participating in the process to keep you free.
And there's so many creative ways to participate in that work that it's not like you got to strap this heavy leather fucking weight to your back with lead in it and do like hard labor. And at one time it was sort of like that, but it ain't like that no more. It could be as simple as take $100 and chop it into $20 bills and send those out periodically when it, however much $100 bills hurts you. Some people can do that a month. Some people can do that a quarter. Some people can do that a year. And, with just a little bit of consistency with that support, then we send people who are who are into climbing mountains with lead weights on their back, right? Like that's what they like to do. Let them do it. But yeah, I mean, like, or if you just want to go with them, like it's it's just in the old days where you had to like only let the one guy who decided to do it, help him. Now you can, a lot of times you can go up just about anybody and be like, hey, how can I help out? Like in person, how can I help out? Whatever, like at the next event.
Yeah, so my whole thing is because people often ask, how do you get involved with stuff, right? Because they see me on things and on shows. That's because you never saw me when I was at the meetings at the gun shop with, the local Second Amendment organizations. You didn't see me speaking at my first, speaking in the first time to legislators. You didn't see me doing any of that stuff, but I consistently done it for 13 years. I've been doing this. So if you're seeing me now and you go, well, how do you get to do that? Because you didn't see over a dozen years of work that I put in to get where I'm at, which when I say it like that is really depressing because I'm nowhere. I'm nowhere. But it's like, dude, put in some work. You don't have to be me. And you definitely don't have to do what I do. But be involved because when you're not, the voice, you seem just as much of an expert as the lady that just watched The View and is calling your legislator repeating Whoopi Goldberg's talking points because you've never established yourself as, oh, this is that guy that knows about guns that lives in my district and has offered to take me to the range like multiple times and actually has talks come to the office and spoken to me because his work is 5 miles down the road. Like I know who this guy is. Like you passed up that opportunity. So it's coming again because this will die out, like you said, rather quickly, because it doesn't fit anybody's, it doesn't help anybody. Because the people that are going, it's trans and trans people need to be disarmed because they're all a problem. And I'm looking at those going, yeah, that's what they say about us, bro, about all gun people. No other trans person in America did a horrible thing that day except this douche canoe that needed to have his skull split because the reaction, the physical reaction that you use to stop a school shooter, a mass shooter, or a murderer are all the same, regardless of his race, religion, gender, or sexual orientation. You shoot them in the face. It doesn't make a difference what they are. So stop trying to pull that up and using it as an excuse or even beating them over the head with it. Now, I do find it understanding that you bring it up because they don't want to ever mention that this person was trans or the number of incidents that happen with trans shooters. Because there's like 8 of them.
Well,
they've been like 8, but how many mass shooters do we have?
I don't know, but I'm going to go with this. I think my grandpa would have said this, maybe somebody else. He always used to say like 8 carats. So, you say like, oh, is that going to kill me or whatever? But anyway, in this case, I'm going to maybe say it this way. When they're talking about these situations, and they can be anybody in this case, like our side, their side, media, whatever. But most of the time it's going to be the media because that's where we're hearing it from. And most of the time we're going to do is repeat what we heard. So even if we're hearing it from somebody, some other source, we're just hearing that news. So when they talk about this stuff, again, and that's why I always say the murderer. I think that's from Alan Corwin and Charles Heller. Like being precise in our language is one
terminology. Yes,
sounds better and it makes us sound like we're more accurate. I guess the word I'm looking for. But we can't expect the other side to be accurate about shit we care about if we can't be accurate ourselves. So I like the idea of saying murderer because that's what they fucking are. We are shooters. We go shooting all the damn time. Shooting is a good word. Like I don't like it when it gets thrown around with all that negativity. Nice. But anyway, that being said, whenever the person with some sort of an agenda starts reporting about this person, did they say a left-handed killer, blah, 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 did a bunch of horrible shit? Did they say someone who ate carrots this morning or last night, probably somebody who ate carrots this month? We don't know exactly what's going on here, but this motherfucker ate carrots. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm using an absurd example here. But what we're being told about this person is part of the fucking agenda. It's part of the manipulation. question. And if they know that they're not going to get, let's say, and it's not like just on our side or their side, but again, where these sources are coming from, if they know they're not going to get mileage, I think is what I was looking for, on because of the details, then how can they get mileage out of this? How can they squeeze the most out of this? Well, let's report it as this person who was 8 carats probably yesterday, and then fuck the carrot industry. Because even though whatever we're talking about here now, it's in people's minds like, this motherfucker ate carrots the other day. Like, this motherfucker ate carrots, this carrot eating motherfucker. And I don't like carrots, so I do not mind throwing carrots under the bus. Some people think they're great. I don't like them raw. I don't like them cooked, so I got no interest in them. But I know that murderers eat them all the fucking time, and that's all I'm getting at, right? It's like whatever they decide to throw at us, maybe that's because they know that they ain't got no fucking weight, and they know if they throw it at us this way, it tangles us up. And if they don't just get points for each other, like slap on the back type of like, haha, you got those fuckers. Or if it's just like they guys literally get paid, like, oh, you screwed around with the industry a bunch, like you messed with those people and they couldn't do this. Here's $100, here's $1,000, here's another year's worth of support. I don't know, but and if any, it doesn't matter. Any of the above, fuck them. Like, we have things that we can do because we can all talk to each other and we're smart enough to figure this stuff out. Like, there's things that we can do to set them up so that none of it is effective, so that none of this stuff works. So if they're going to come at us with this carrot eater decided to do a bunch of violent shit, and we don't care about the carrot eaters that blow shit up, we don't care about the carrot eaters that poison people, we're only going to talk about the carrot eaters that pick up this certain thing at these certain times and shit. And again, that's where we got to figure out, like, we're part of the freaking system when we get up in arms exactly on cue, and only when we're not, when we're essentially cued, right, told to, because we don't get up in arms about this shit when we don't need to. And that's, again, how are we supposed to do that? Are we supposed to all look at each other and go, this is a great time of like nothing going on, that we could bring up the fact that we're persecuted at certain times when bullshit does happen? Right? No, we don't do that. We can't be expected to do that. That's why we have fucking national level organizations. We were just talking about goals. I mean, that was a great project for GOA. I would love it if they also did, here's a concise, consistent playbook that we can use, and here's some ideas, like on, I don't know, like National Suicide Prevention Month. Let's go talk to representatives about suicide and how guns have nothing to fucking do with it, but instead all kinds of other certain, mitigating factors. There's a word that we should learn. Mitigating factors are involved. And once you can talk to them like that, you think, my rights, my property is on the same wavelength as there's mitigating factors to suicide that you're not taking into account. And when you are manipulated into acting, like Tony said, after an atrocity, and now who's going to get more, who's going to get, whose ears, where's the ears going to get perked up when you're having those two conversations, right? Like when you're told to, like, we're taking your guns away, my rights, my property, and that's the only time they hear from us. Or like a National Suicide Prevention Month, oh, we got 117,000 phone calls from gun owners who's all said stuff about our mitigating circumstances of suicide have nothing to do with the property that they own. And often the lack of professional understanding of gun owners in the medical field drives gun owners from even attempting to talk to medical professionals when they most need it. And you know what I mean? Like, that is a conversation where they're like, I better sit the fuck down because they're not talking about this on The View.
And also, like, again, I like your idea. I wish you'd reminded me of it. I wish I would have thought of it. You know what? Hold on. Let me write this shit down. Because this is National Sports Shooting Month. It was this month. Oh, yeah. This is also a great time to actually.
Except right now, because of the bullshit, we're going to be, lumped in with the noise and the my rights, my property, which is necessary. I'm not bitching about that. I'm just saying, like, if that's all we offer, then we shouldn't expect much more than a crying child in return. But if we can make some support points here, and like every September, is it September that's Shooting Sports Month, or is it August? I forget. But whichever every August, we're contacting representatives every August, and then something atrocity happens in August. Now we're not the same getting lumped in. It's like, oh, these guys are here every month, every year, and this happened this year, just like they said. And let's act differently. Would be the ideal response from the representative, right? Like, now that we understand that we're all being manipulated here, as representatives, let's stop the cycle and stop just knee-jerking to new laws, and instead calm the constituents down to let them know, look, we've had a ton of laws. We have 30,000, 60,000 laws, depending on what angle you look at them, about guns. We know it's not the guns, so let's take a real look at the mitigating circumstances to the, the issue here, and why. Well, whatever. They're not. That's asking too much, but ideally, we would start shifting them into that realm where they actually understand that, like you said, there's another option besides jumping on new laws.
No, I'm just writing this down now. I don't know what month Suicide Prevention Month is.
I know there is one, but I don't remember which one. I guess I could look.
Well, November is National Men's Health Month. Legislative. So the reason I'm going to do it, I'm going to write it down. I don't know. September.
Yep.
Good. So I'm going to contact friends of mine. I'm going to try to push it. Fuck yeah, you're right. This month is bad, but I guarantee you next week, the little shiny flashlight will be somewhere else, because again, this horrible act isn't hitting anybody's. Nobody has a gotcha moment on it, much like the Buffalo shooter. Again, not a gotcha moment, so that one gets forgotten in the zeitgeist. Like the Arlington
shooter. I'm not trying to dismiss that because it's blatantly obvious. Like there's some memes out there that shine light on like every aspect of this particular one is not going to fall into the narrative. So there's memes out there, that are doing their job of getting people aware of this or whatever, and hopefully upset about it. But they're not going to accomplish anything about solving this, because that's going to require, again, like some strategy to either tell the people who might be dupes in the middle, who are just maybe the hinges, or like the back and forths that are like, maybe the media could claim this, right? Like, oh, well, Bloomberg's the one that organizes these. We just say what they want when they want, but if somebody else asked us to say what they want, we would think about it, right? Like they could act like they were the innocent victims here, but they're really the ones that, that get the thing going all the time, fan the flames. But again, like the memes don't change. The memes don't change that. The only way to change this is that what the flames are being fanned for is the reaction from the constituents, or the reaction from regular people. And we can go straight to the regular people. We're not like in the olden days where we have to wait for somebody to pick up a pamphlet. And we were just talking about goals. That at the beginning of Goals Media Day, they had those 2 seminar lecture things, and one of them was for the what do they call them, agents or networks, forged relations, and what's another one, Leviathan, and there's other ones. There was ones before them, and they probably come and go. I don't really pay attention to them that much. Probably need to map them out, but whatever. The agencies, though, people that help the channels with their ability to grow and get big, and the industry gives they allow the industry to get in front of the community, I guess you'd call us, or the industry, or whatever you want to call it. Was it the community or the culture? It's definitely more than the culture. It's the community, I guess. But so I'm not bitching about it, but I'm just saying, like, those are a medium that could easily distribute some sort of a consistent, right, concise playbook on how we could react to these types of things. And it doesn't have to be like we walk lockstep. It would ideally be like, hey, how would you react to this? Here's 6 ways that could be done, and now just open people's minds up to like, oh shit, there's 6 ways to react to this, and I've only thought about one comes to mind, or my knee jerk would be this. And then you could go, you know what, after looking at those 6, fuck them, I like option 8 and 9. Well, good, then fucking tell everybody option 8 and 9. Like, we're not limited here. We're not saying like there's what we have to do, but we live in a world where we can share this knowledge and this data. It's a shame that we aren't taking advantage of that quicker.
I was going to say one of the issues with us as
the community
activists, and the community, firearms owners, whatever you want to call us, is that we don't march in lockstep. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to say that because I don't believe that, but I believe this.
Right.
Well, they're getting legislators are getting different messages because they're coming from different people. And the reason their messaging is the same when it comes to antis is because they're all in lockstep. Many of them are paid, and the others know, look, I don't know anything about this, but I'll just repeat what they told me because I just want the killings to stop. And it's us as firearms owners that have different perceptions and experiences and feelings about the Second Amendment, because we actually have feelings about this right. All they want to do is ban guns. They told me if it banned guns, crime would stop. All these deaths wouldn't happen. No children would get shot. And they just march in lockstep. So they get one message. Because if you wonder how come the leading cause of death of children is firearms, lie keeps being passed around because everyone repeats the same lie.
That's a great point. That it's a lot easier. Oh, the perception is that it's a lot easier for their side. They do have a lot of money behind it to force it, but when they only have to force one or two messages at a time, I'm not going to act like they only do one or two, but they do one or two at a time. Usually, one or two, like now and then, like this didn't work for a while, so we'll switch into these. Their playbook is very small. But we've talked about, like, in the past, like, they very rarely add a new thing. And when they do, it's interesting, and it almost always fails. But the thing is, they win when they lose. But that's a great when you only have two positions, that it's much easier to get loud, because they probably engineer it to go, we want people that hate, I don't know, guns and, I don't know, rednecks, because the only reason people hate guns is because of who's holding a gun. Nobody just hates a gun. They're not irrational. They hate a gun because of who's holding it. So it's either I hate guns and rednecks, or I hate guns and urban. I'm just say, like, whatever racist shit that you want to insert there. But you know what I mean? And then they send that out, and it's like, you don't want to say that you hate hillbillies. You don't want to say that you hate the people from this country or that country or this region, but you can certainly say you hate guns. And there's a big chunk of that. And anyway, so that gives them a real easy message that they can just pull out and go, here's the message of the month. It's like when you go into a whatever store and it says, like, all the tags with the red are half price or something this week. It's that kind of thing. And it also makes it easy for the media, who doesn't have to keep track of a whole bunch of interesting, different messaging. They just have those boilerplate, like you said, top whatever cause of death.
It's like top five bull craps that they can throw out there. Oh, women that have a gun in the house are most likely going to be killed by their domestic partner instead of use the gun to protect themselves. Oh, where does that come from? Where you get oh, no, just keep repeating it and keep repeating it until it becomes something, in air quotes, everyone knows.
Yeah.
Just everyone knows it.
Common knowledge.
Well, yeah, it's common knowledge. Well, what sources? You don't need sources to tell your rain is wet. It's like, yeah, you just been told the same lie over and over until it becomes the truth because it's public knowledge. And I'm like, but it's a lie. It doesn't even, if you own a gun, hold on. How about this one? If you own a gun, your percentage of chances of being killed would go up significantly more than if you don't own a gun. Well, no shit.
Yeah. It's like insert stairs, insert swimming pool, insert car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if
you don't own a house,
there's more of a chance it's going to hurt you. Like, amazing.
Do you understand what your chances are of having your house foreclosed upon you if you have one? As opposed to if you live in an apartment?
Exactly. 0% of apartment owners have their houses foreclosed on them. Like, okay.
Not one. So, yeah, dude, look, we fight the good fight, but we have to figure out, we can't only come out swinging when we're attacked. It's like we have to take the offense, and somehow it always takes something to wake up gun people. Oh, it's not going to happen to me. Well, dude, bro, the time to get with it was proactive. When you were worrying about your fantasy football team, you should have done something. Oh, why do you attack those people? Because it's football season, and that's what all F was talking about at work. I'm like, come on, guys.
Sports don't usually bother me at all until somebody starts talking about them in front of me all the time, and that's frustrating because I still don't have any interest. But unless, then I mean, like if they're just anyway, I don't have a problem with sports.
No, I don't either. But somebody was like, "Hey, man, make sure you check out Tennessee and Georgia or some random thing about college football. And I looked at them like, yeah, and just walked out the door because I don't want to get caught in this conversation. I don't even know about. I'm like, okay, Tennessee and Georgia, we're talking college football here, I assume. And it's not like I look down on it. It's just not a sport I'm interested in. I mean, you may as well talk about NASCAR.
Yeah, exactly. There's just too many things in the world for me to be interested in any of them is tough. So, and I don't even,
Yeah,
I
and
don't,
it's
you know, like whatever, like being aware of sports. Like I just don't even have any knowledge.
well, as a big fat dude that looks also like I was a big dude that played sports, people just assume you play football, right? Yes. You play basketball? Yes. You know, on teams. I played basketball on the team. Excuse me. Wait a minute. No, I never played basketball on an official team. I played football. I played baseball. And I'm like, yeah, those were activities to me. Those were fun group activities that I got to play with my friends on another level because I was good enough to do it. But it's not something I carried on with or even watched on my own. You won't catch me watching any sports ball on my own except Olympic female beach tennis volleyball. I mean, beach volleyball, because I love the athletics of it 100%. Also, I'm into women's rugby. I think, what is it, sevens, fives, whatever Alona Mar plays. I actually came into that sport from seeing her on Instagram and thinking she was some kind of sports reporter and liking her personality. And then I discovered that she was actually a player and then the captain of the U.S. Olympic team. And then they're the first American rugby team to actually medal in the Olympics. So it was pretty cool getting in on that ride before she became super famous, to non-sports people.
Rugby is like the big ass football that they wing to each other.
Yeah, with no freaking gear on for the most part, and they slam each other hardcore. I don't understand all the rules, and I just watch the highlights just like any other sport, and I find it interesting. I find it interesting how brutal they are, and the women are just bad. There's no wimpy chicks that play rugby. You know what I mean? Like nobody on that rugby is not field. I forgot what the word for it is, but no one out there is like soft. There's no one doing flops. You know what I mean? There's no one not being able to hit the quarterback. It's none of that. And so that's what I like. Honda's out there. Honda's got a new name.
I don't know if that's Honda or not. I think the logo was Honda,
Oh.
but
Yeah.
Said talked about the van, so he might be talking about it on a show.
Oh, rugby pitch. I think that's what it's called, the rugby pitch.
I just never got into sports. I didn't grow up with them, and then like I was in scouts and stuff, and the only time I ever played any kind of sports, like you say, was just like because they'd make us go play football or something for an activity or for a merit badge or something. But I never got on any kind of teams. I don't know if I would have, even if I had the time. I just never got into sports stuff. But I guess once I figured out shooting sports as a sport, I thought that was cool. I would probably pay attention to some of those, but I still don't. I think it's just a matter of I only got so much brain capacity, and that's a lot of data. It turns into data really fast, right? Like just knowing teams, then you got players, and then you got scores, and then you got seasons. Like that's just too much for me to keep track of.
It's not my interest, but I did have something funny happen on the way back from Gun Con. We stopped and we were having dinner, and it's tripped upon a conversation. And I said, the weird part is the stupid gun stuff I know, like when certain cartridges were actually developed and put out. And and Angela was like, really? And I just started, and I pretty much got so many right. Like 45 ACP, when did that come out? 45 Long Colt or 45 Colt, when did that happen? 38 Special, 357 Magnum, 44. I was able to like bang them all out with the right year. And he looked at me and I was like, I didn't know I knew this until I started saying it. And he actually Googled cartridges and was just going down the list. as I was nailing, he'd name one and I tell him what year it was developed. And I was like, wow, what a totally useless superpower. So yeah, I'm not going to poo-poo anybody that knows statistics on football stuff, but it just or any sport,
No, because it gets
because
sad,
it,
like you're saying, yeah.
yeah, it holds no interest for me. But I'm like, it's just funny when you discover something in real time. I'm like, great, I'm a human Snapple cap for you useless firearms knowledge. All right, I'm gonna have to get off soon because I want to go buy this lottery ticket so my wife doesn't punch me in the face.
Probably a good
I
idea.
don't want to lie.
So we're at 3 hours, so we don't have another 4 hour show. Agrisers out there, welcome. And it said it was Honda. Seeing if he was going to go to the Dragon Man shoot. So Dragon Man is in Colorado Springs. Dragon Man has a massive collection of machine guns, but on top of that, he has put those machine gun collections into military vehicles, dioramas, life-size dioramas, and then made that a massive museum. I think it's 10,000 square feet. I'd have to look because he changes, he grows the museum periodically. I'd have to go get the current size of the museum. But he has military vehicles that are amazing in the fact that you're like of the variety and the type, but in the condition. They're all running. He's a mechanic, so they're all running. He takes a lot of pride in that. He takes them out, a bunch of them, to parades, so they actually do get use, like those guns and like well, I guess not the uniforms, but his museum is all like real stuff. Anyway, it's just an amazing museum. You get closer to it than you do with any other stuff in any other museum. And he takes you on the tour with his helpers and stuff. So you're still hanging out with Dragon Man. So we live in a time of Dragon Man. You have the ability to go to Dragon Man's. Him and his daughter run the place, and they do a couple of shoots every year. There's a shoot coming up in September. I think it's the 27th, but double check to make sure. I might be messing that up. But
Is it just his one daughter? Is it just his one daughter or both?
Well, Eva is doing her thing, but his other daughter hangs out at the place, runs the gun shop for him, and then does instruction. She sets up the shoot. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I'm just saying if you're going to be out there, because I know Ava lived in Colorado. I have no idea where she lived.
They've gotten together. I mean, I don't know all the like tea or whatever, but I know that Eva wasn't really involved. It was always just Dragon Man and his daughter. And then, and for whatever reason, I'm not thinking of, like, I'll think of her name when I'm not trying to think of it right now. But she runs the shop and whatever, and then Eva was doing her thing. But like, as Colorado's been getting clobbered, like I say, they've been getting kicked in the balls for gun stuff for a little while now. It's not just recently, but kind of more recently than some states. They might be the most recent state to really get wailed on, although Massachusetts is giving them a run for their money. But anyway, they're getting really clobbered, and when they started getting really clobbered a while back, Eva, right? Is Ava? Ava started doing stuff with Dragon Man and stuff again. So, like I say, I don't know the tea, but I know that publicly they hadn't really crossed paths until the Colorado issues got really bad, and then they seemed like they weren't forcing nothing. So I'm assuming everything's cool amongst the family and stuff. They just do their things differently. But anyway, the Dragon Man's itself is what I'm talking about, and like I say, it's just it's an epic experience. There's no other experience like it. I've literally been to every other museum. I guess I can't say that. There's a couple of military museums I still haven't been to in my travels, but I've been to pretty much all the major gun museums, and Dragon Man's is beyond amazing and unique. It's in its own level. J.M. Davis is the best museum because of what it is and its place and significance and time and the number of guns and the whatnot, and it's free. But and it's near Tulsa, so it's a lot easier to get to than a lot of the others. But J.M. Davis Museum was a museum from a guy who, during the Route 66 days, had all of his rooms in his hotel had guns hanging on the wall, and he had a massive gun collection that you could go live in his, stay in his hotel with his gun collection type of thing. He had rooms in his hotel that you couldn't even close and open the door because there was so many guns in them, piled floor to ceiling, and that's his collection on display. Dragon Man's is like going to the J.M. Davis Hotel when it was still in operation, right? Not just seeing the museum after the fact, after the man passed, but you're going and hanging out with Dragon Man, and he's walking around. He does a couple of things I won't spoil, but going on a tour with Dragon Man is it's immersive, so it's awesome. Anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up, that it is coming up here, and I was going to see if Honda's going to it. He's, like he says, he's been to it a couple of times, but there is some cost to it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, there's awesome stuff out there, and if you don't get on it, I'm gonna wait. Look, do it. Things change, people pass, and now that opportunity is gone. Like, do I wish I was able to, train with certain people before they passed away? Yes. Firearms related. I'm just talking firearm stuff. But even in your regular life, I've been meaning to drop by to see so and so. I've been meaning to call. So fucking do it. Do it. My wife has a friend who she worked with. We still haven't figured out how old this lady is. We haven't figured out how old she is. My wife thinks she's in her 80s or early 90s, but they actually work together. They pretty much forced her to retire from her job because of her age, but she won't tell anyone her age. And her and my wife speak on the phone for like 2-3 hours at a time. And, and then they don't speak for a month or a month and a half. And I'm like, hey, babe, how long do you think that gap between you speaking to her and her never being able to speak again is not going to grow longer as she gets older? So talk to her and have fun that she's somebody you enjoy speaking to. Because my wife is one of those, what do you call it, introverts? That she doesn't go out of her way to actually meet and speak to people. She won't be rude, but she's not one of those people that runs out and looks to make a bunch of friends. So I was like, yeah, speak to your friends while they're here. Don't wait until they're gone to wish you would have had one more conversation with them. And that goes for everything. So, hey, I'll use that. What is it called? The grand thumb dad advice moment, since he can't use it anymore because he shit all over his own reputation. Yeah, man, tell the people you care about that you care about them today. Don't wait.
Good message. Melissa is his other daughter's name, the one that runs the gun shop.
Okay.
Took me a second to where I wasn't trying to think of it.
She's
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, man. No, please go ahead.
I was just saying it's been 3 hours then, so we probably didn't hitch everything. Ghost Town Knives was out there earlier, talking about how he was more interested in canteen pouches, and I get that. I was definitely more into like uniforms and gear and stuff because it was something I could get at a surplus store, and it was just something you could hold on to. Like I said, it's still understood though. I guess I got into airplanes a little bit. But the other thing is trying to keep all the different variants of airplanes apart from each other is pretty tough. And I kind of could do that to some extent, like the major airplanes from World War II or something. But like you get into like tanks and stuff, and unless it's like super unique, like that's just too much for me. Again, I don't have the biggest brain for learning that kind of stuff or keeping that kind of stuff in there. So that was just a lot of more depth than I could ever get into. Then he said he's going to go to Grave, does a bunch of custom knives, obviously. And he asked about where's a good place to message, I guess, on any of the platforms. I'm like Tony. I monitor all of them. I guess I monitor Instagram a lot less than I used to. So X probably more than Instagram, but YouTube comments, I don't get that many comments. I don't know about you, but I guess it may hide them from me, maybe. Like it probably hides like the weird shit from me, but I don't get that many comments from anywhere. So feel free to comment pretty much anywhere. If you don't hear from me, then try another platform, I guess. But I just don't get a lot of comments, so I'm not like reading comments every day, but I'm usually basically like anybody and making sure that it's not a bunch of weird shit happening on my comments and then, deleting whatever weird shit does show up. So because I don't get so many. I don't really talk about that much anymore. But for a while there, like back in the day, I would have to sit down for 3 hours and deal with comments because I didn't know I could pay somebody, I guess, and I didn't have an agency or anything to do this for me. But I definitely didn't want weird shit going out. And when you're a big channel and you got a lot of comments, then weird shit is part of it, and you're deleting that. What do you call that? Like blocking the people so they don't come back type of shit. Sometimes it's like you block one of them and they're in some kind of group, so that attracts 6 of them to come in and be annoying. But usually, you delete all 8 of them or whatever it is, and then that little group never bothers to come back again. But anyway, that was some amount of effort. But really, it was like 2/3 of the time was just responding to comments and having a good time if somebody asked about something, replying to it, or having little conversations going all over the place. It's kind of neat. But I'm nowhere near that now. Like I get a few comments a week compared to back in the day. I don't know where you're at with comments and stuff.
I mean, truthfully, if you're gonna comment, and you send me a message. Comment on my latest friggin' Instagram or Facebook posts. Instagram, even better. That way, at least I see it and I can go check my messages, because I go through and I'm like, what the hairy heck? How many damn people have messaged me? I went through and I got one from January that someone hit me up talking about taking some stuff out of their house for them. It's somebody I actually know. And I'm like, why didn't you call me or hit me up again? I mean, I understand why she did it, because I was friends with her ex-husband. You know what I mean? But I'm like, y'all got divorced. I don't have feelings either way about either one of you. You can still talk to me. You know what I mean? It's like there's no reason to not speak to me. And but yes, message me more than once. Message to me in the comments, and Instagram is a quicker way. Message to me in the comments on Facebook posts. I can also see those from my phone. Facebook Messenger is weird. It doesn't send me stuff. And if you're on X, oh, by the way, X is second for everyone with the numbers, second for everyone. And you can message me there and I'll definitely get that. Facebook is Simon Says Train, Tony Simon, and the second is for everyone. So that's 3 different ways you can contact me there. And Instagram is Simon Says Train. I'm going to have to figure out how to hook up my second is for everyone with the Simon Says Train on IG, and the second is for everyone on X, just so I can just look at one thing and see all 3 of them. I don't know if you're on Threads. I don't know if I want to be bothered with yet another social media platform that I have to figure out how to use.
I never went to Threads. I'm the same way. Instagram was already pissing me off, so a new Instagram from Facebook was like 2 strikes against it. And then at first, like only a trickle of people went over there. So it's not like I lost connection with everybody because they all went over there. So I never went. And now I've almost gone there like 6 times because they keep putting it in my Instagram feed. And it, like I was just going to say, I took Instagram off my phone a while back because I was fucking with it too much. I was just watching feeds, and the feeds would turn into, at first it was like feeds, and then it would be, puppies will get me a lot, and then some of the like funny shit will get you sometimes, depending on your mood or whatever. And then I don't know, every once in a while it would be like some weather thing or something would be interesting. Anyway, so some of the shit that they know your mood, or they can tell your whatever, and they can feed it to you. And I was getting too lost in those feeds. But then what was happening, and I could tell, like I would wake up from that or whatever you say, and then go, fuck, I wasted 2 hours watching a scroll, right? And it just wasn't good for whatever. I was just not digging it. But then what would happen is, and I'm glad they did this, it would turn into like the most angry shit from other countries I've ever seen. And I don't know why, like either their Instagram was fucking with me or something broke, but it would show me like, I don't want to be vulgar, but like a bunch of kids beating up a snake or something. And I'm like, don't show me this again. Or like I would report it as being gross or something. And then it'd be like watching dudes getting mad at each other in some other language. And I'm like, what am I even watching? And then I'd come out of the scroll, whatever, like I'd come out from the individual thing into the scroll, and everything in the scroll was like other countries, like literally other languages and shit. And it wasn't consistent. It would be Middle Eastern, it would be islands, it would be, I don't know, whatever, like, but other, not consistent, just all these random And I'm like, what the hell is this? And at that point, I was like, I'm done. And I just uninstalled it. And I was happy for a while because I got out of the habit of picking up my phone. And I was picking up my phone a lot because I kept picking up my phone and I'd have nothing to do with it and put my phone back down. And that kind of snapped me into like, wow, I've been picking up my damn phone a lot for nothing. So I was super happy. But then I went on that trip, and for like a month of August, basically, I needed it on my phone because what's the point? That's kind of what Instagram is for, is to kind of like keep track of adventures or whatever. And I didn't feel like having to do all that shit separately. So I figured I might as well install it and just take pictures and load them up immediately type of thing. And I don't know if that was worth it or not. You've been watching my Instagram. If it was like, I don't think I posted anything up like all that, interesting or all that memorable or anything. I just sort of did it to document, but I might not even in the future. Anyway, what I'm getting at is I uninstalled it from my phones again because I liked it better not having it on my phone. I do use Instagram. I just have to do it as like part of my chores on the computer instead of on my phone.
Maybe I should do that too, because right now, I mean, I'm looking at my Instagram. I got 67,000 views last month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that keeps me and the work I do in the forefront, but I don't need to have it every freaking day.
Well, the thing
You know
is,
what I
if
mean?
you
Like, come
were
on.
to sit down with the scheduler, we're talking about, I guess you started talking about Threads, and I never went to
Mhm.
Threads for those reasons. But then I kind of was saying I also got rid of Instagram. But one of the reasons I don't like Instagram is because you can't schedule on it real easily. You can go into the Facebook scheduler and schedule for both Instagram and Facebook and probably Threads. And that's where I was going to
Oh,
say,
okay.
if you were to do that, and that's what I basically do now, and I don't do it consistently because it only lets you do like 3 weeks into the future or something dumb. It's a pretty weird throttle. Like YouTube, for example, I can schedule stuff out. I don't even know if there is a limit anymore, but it's definitely 2 or 3 years out. Like, because I'll post something, and if it's something that's like every year, I'll post it. I'll post it again for next year, and if I'm really being crazy, I'll post it for 3 years right away. And that way, I just know, right, I've posted, I've saved myself ever having to post this again for the next 3 years. And I just know that I can do that on YouTube. But on Facebook or Instagram, it's more like 3 weeks. So I've done it before, but the problem is because it's only 3 weeks into the future, even if I post a lot, I'm usually like posting stuff from like gun calendars. So it's not like I have something for every day. Some months it's more than others, but it's only going to be a certain amount of things for 3 weeks. That means I have to go back 3 weeks later and do it again. And I don't ever have that kind of consistency because I don't like Facebook that much.
All
But
right, dude. Hey, let me get off this. What was that?
oh, nothing. I was going to say you might like find that pace better though if you just went on the computer once every 3 weeks and posted all your Instagram shit and then let you concentrate on X, where it seems like all the work is getting done now.
I don't know what works, what doesn't, what shows up. Let everybody know I've been on. I recorded for Gun Stuff TV Thursday, and we posted that live. They told me it was going to show again probably this weekend, so check out Gun Stuff TV, and just see our stuff. See what we do. I had a 10-minute segment, but they also had Bursa on there. They had one of the guys from Second Amendment Foundation talking about the Gun Rights Policy Conference. So yeah, check out the episode. It was really cool. Also, kind of Bursa debuted their striker fired polymer 9mm. That's the size of a Glock 17. I don't know if it used a Glock 17 mags or not, but that's brandy new from Bursa. So that was pretty cool that they debuted that. And just thanks a lot for listening to me babble on a Saturday.
Yeah, same here. It's been a while since we chatted. I think we probably got on a couple of tangents there for sure. But yeah, thanks for joining in. And well, did you say stuff about the diversity shoot enough?
Yeah, so the Diversity Shoot is at diversityshoot.com. I have the next two events up to take place in September. September 11th, we're going to be at Union Hill Gun Club in Monroe, New Jersey. September 20, the last Thursday in September, we're going to be at We Shoot in Lakewood, New Jersey. We're going to be debuting one of their rental firearms at our event. They rent out the HK MP5, which we call the SP5. So we'll be shooting that, and that'll be online. So if you want to come and check that out from HK, we'll be shooting those. Plus, my guys have all their firearms too. And we're going to be introducing you to Second Amendment organizations. We're going to have cool raffle prizes, and we're going to have awesome pizza. So check out diversityshoot.com for our schedule. Again, September 11th, we're going to be at Union Hill Gun Club. And the last Thursday in September, I keep forgetting, it's the 20 something, obviously. We're going to be at We Shoot in Lakewood. So hope to see you there. If you want to support our work, you can actually visit diversityshoot.com and donate to PayPal. Also, right now in my stories on both Instagram and Facebook, you can donate using my Cash App or my Venmo. I have both of those contacts up. $5, $2, $3, $1. I don't care. It all helps us in the fight because I have to purchase ammo and food for these events, and I think my insurance is coming around again too. So I need the monies, and if you can donate funds to us, that really be appreciated. Thanks a lot.
And it sounds like Clover did the cards from GunCon and put those up. Somebody won, but then just put it back in, and we're going to do a second auction.
Dude, we were trying to figure out how to make it exciting because we did get a push. Thank you for everybody that reposted Clover's GunCon cards because that netted us like $230. And then the person that won said, "Hey, I don't want the cards. I just wanted to help auction them off again or figure out how to raise even more funds with these cards." So if you want to shoot me some ideas, I'd be glad to hear them. Because Clover and I said, "Hey, give it a break, and then we can step back into it." I think it's cool. And that's going to be part of my live tomorrow, telling people about that and try to get ideas. So email me, text message me, whatever you want to do with ideas on how to actually make the next drawing a fundraiser go even bigger. So thanks a lot to everybody that helped. I really appreciate it. It's awesome.
Right on. Well, thanks again for joining and for everybody out there for being part of the show on Saturdays pretty regularly. The last couple of weeks excluded. We go live whenever we're both available and answer gun questions. So if you do have questions, let us know and we'll get to them. You can always go to the website, I guess, or just chat them live. And we'll see you next week. Oh, shit. I clicked on the wrong button here. I'll just click on this button.